PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast here on the PLD networks. And look again, it looks like Matty still hasn't shown up. He's about to get fired after 3 weeks. 3 episodes missed. I don't know what I can do about this mother. Oh, there he is. What's up, Matty? How are you? And you're muted too. Look at this. Is brilliant. All right, I got you now.
Me.
I didn't.
You've tried to fire me from class action. You tried to silence me on class action. You tried to fire me from Holy Snokes, and now you just can't get rid of me, dude. Stop trying.
No matter what I try. And now, after the announcement, I'll be seeing you in person, most likely in 2027. We'll get to that soon, of course. But Matty, you are back on Holy Snokes after your trip to Japan to see Celebration in person. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Obviously, we want to talk about your experience. Whether it's good or bad, or somewhere in between, or all over the place, we'll find out. We have news that I want to talk to you about. I want to get your take on some of the news that dropped at Celebration. And since I only did one live stream over the course of the weekend, really, I got a little bit busier than I thought I might. I only touched base on a few things, or even some news stories I haven't even commented on yet. So we'll get to that as well. But as our main story today, our main topic of discussion, Andor Season 2 has finally come out after a long wait, long build-up. We've been anticipating this for quite a while. The most critically acclaimed Star Wars piece of content since the original trilogy, honestly. It seems like this has gotten the most attention from critics. Divisive among some fans, honestly, but overall, not the quality, but maybe how some of the things are tackled. But we're going to get into all that discourse for sure. And in this case, when we do the big show reviews, as we tend to do after all the episodes drop, we are going to do that first and talk about that. And then we'll get into Matty's travels across the world and what they uncovered, as it were. So we're going to get right into Andor Season 2. The first 3 episodes drop. We are getting basically a Star Wars movie a week for 4 weeks. We had a lot of things to talk about, a lot of discussions that have already popped up, some divisive, mostly positive overall, but there's definitely some divisiveness to it. But that's not how we do things on this show. What we do is we take these and break them down into little segments first. That's how we review the show. And then we get into the roundabout and do the quote-unquote catch-up of everything else. So let's get right into it. First of all, I'll ask you, Matty, how are you feeling now that Andor has come out? How are you feeling?
I don't enjoy watching this show. And that's the point. Yeah. Fascism isn't supposed to be a thrill ride. This is an uncomfortable watch. Now, when I say I don't enjoy it, I'm not saying it's bad. That's not me saying that it is a poorly made piece of cinema or of television. The performances are 10 out of 10. The writing is 10 out of 10. It just makes me so damn uncomfortable to watch, and it feels suffocating. Yeah, it has some funny ha-ha moments, which we're going to get to in a segment, but for I would say 98.5% of the time, it's an uncomfortable watch, and it's supposed to be that way. So I think the show is doing a fantastic job of what it's supposed to do, but what it's supposed to do makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Well, I guess that's actually a very strong way to describe it. I definitely, after you said that, I hate saying I enjoyed it, but I did enjoy my viewing because I thought it was a very deep, in-depth look at something that is necessary to look at. It is Star Wars like we don't see Star Wars a lot of time, which is some of the problem for some people, I believe. But we'll get into that. I'm going to leave it there. I was actually very excited about watching this, and I am now even more excited to see the rest of the season as it envelops. I will say, having talked to, I'm not one of the lucky. You've seen a bunch of people out there that have already seen all 12 episodes. I've talked to a few of them, and almost to a T, they all say that the first 2 episodes were the slowest episode and the probably the worst of the bunch, and that the rest of the episodes just starts with episode 3 and kind of just takes off and never looks back. And some of the best Star Wars TV and some of the best TV in general. So let's get into it, because we have a lot to talk about the discourse wise. So I want to do our segments first. Our first segment, as not as always, but for now, our own little try to be humorous at this state of the game. We're doing not Hondo Watch, but Mosk Watch 2025. And the answer, do we see Sergeant Linus Mosk or former Sergeant Linus Mosk? The answer is no. However, I will say that I looked at Wikipedia, and there is a rebel character, I believe a rebel character, one of those characters in the background that was named Musk. And while some people might think of the overlord of the bad place, I thought maybe it was Mosk.
You mean America? The overlord of America?
The bad place, you take it as you will, as that goes. But no, we did not get Sergeant Linus Musk, unfortunately, in Andor Season 2, and I don't think we're going to get him, unfortunately. We tried to will it into existence, but watching this more and more,
it's been 3 out of 12. Slow your britches. We've got 9 more episodes left to go.
I know. I'm trying. I guess I just don't want my hopes to be shattered. So I'm trying to live down my hope. You still have hope?
I don't have a lot of hope when it comes to this show, but I guess seeing Linus Mosk, it's weird how seeing a complete fascist is one of the things that's giving us hope.
I know, right? Absolutely.
Like, I'm normally the ACAB one on the show, but looking for a cop to give me some enjoyment. It's a weird feeling, but he's Glup Shitto in place of Hondo for this show. So
yeah, it really is at this point. So
and he's hilarious. Let's not pretend he's hilarious.
No, he is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. All right, let's get down to business with our rest of our actual episode talk, as it were. First category this way we're going to talk about is crew member of the week, or favorite character of the week. I call it crew member because that's what we did for Skeleton Crew. We never really came up with a name for Andor, but basically it's just our character of the week. Who was our favorite character of we're going to do all 3 episodes at once. That's how we're going to do this. I should have mentioned that up top. We're not going to do episode by episode, because basically it was one whole story told over the course of 3 episodes. We're just going to go all out. Favorite character of the first 3 episode arc. Matty, I'm going to let you start.
I'm going to say it, then I'm going to drop it because we're going to talk about him later.
Okay.
Brasso.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. I will drop mine, and I will go into it a little bit. I had 2 choices. I'm going to give you my runner-up first, the one I wanted to specifically because I don't know if she's gotten a lot of love yet. I think she will, though. I'm looking forward to her future in this series, this season. That's Clea.
Oh, okay.
I like what I see of Clea so far. She's actually feels a little more front and center in the first couple episodes. I mean, not really. She's not a leading character still, but I feel like she's taken a little bit of a step up from last season. And I think she's going to get more involved. She was more kind of in your face with some of her comments to Luthen. She seemed like more almost of an equal with Luthen this time, instead of, I mean, Luthen's still definitely the leader of that little sect, but like she's not taking a lot of shit, and she's going to be like, hey, you got to focus up. Slap in the face and let's say do things right.
Well, I mean, when they landed, she said, "Look, we're in a dead zone. I told you that the signals were off the table once we landed."
Yep. She is not.
He just kind of was just like, "Oh shit!" So
right away, boom. I like her very much, and I like getting to see the shop again. By the way, I was scared we're going to get to see the shop right away. I got to see some more artifacts in there. The Indiana Jones, the Holy Grail.
I'm curious how she got back so quick, because she said she found a ride. So
That's
I'm wondering who the ride was.
That's a good question. It was kind of funny because it panned right to Perrin, I believe, after she said that, which was kind of strange. I don't know if Perrin got her the ride or if, like, it kind of was strange. Obviously, Perrin didn't leave the wedding, but it was, I don't know if it was intentional or not, or if it was supposed to allude to anything, but perhaps it does later on. I'll kind of earmark that in case it means something. If it never comes to be that it doesn't mean anything, we're just going to forget I ever said anything. But my member of the week, my crew member of the week, my favorite character by far is no surprise to anybody who has watched me cover Andor. It's Mon Mothma. Genevieve O'Reilly was a masterclass of performing. I'm so glad she's getting a chance to shine. I think she got underrated, honestly. So, and I mean, obviously, so when you had like Stellan have his speech, you have Kino Loy and Andy Serkis have his speech during moments. Those are the big acting shining moments. I feel like Genevieve O'Reilly kind of got a little underrated during last season, but she did the buttload of work in this one, and not even a lot of dialogue. Either like facial acting, the facial, just different kinds
that
of
one
responses.
That one shot in the first episode, which, by the way, that set, holy shit,
beautiful. That's why we don't do everything on the volume, boys.
And that's like that one long continuous shot. And when you see that look of, oh shit, I was like, has Krennic just shown up?
Right. You think maybe, right?
But it was, it was our boy Luthen. And it was like, oh, of course he's here.
I do find it interesting that in the trailer we saw, it did seem like Krennic was at the wedding, and he is not at the wedding. So I don't know if something got cut or if there's another.
Maybe he shows up late to the reception.
Well, yeah, but they're not. But we're going a year forward now. That's not a year-long reception, so we're not going to see that unless there's a couple of
flashback. Weddings work.
Some kind of flashback. I don't think we're getting more than I don't think a year-long wedding is going to happen. I think it's a 3-day wedding. They said. So I don't think we're going to see that. So maybe there's some other kind of.
So my red wedding prediction went up in flames pretty quick.
Yeah, looks like it. It went down. Down.
I'm glad it did.
Flame, down. Yeah, absolutely. But I liked all of her different her shifts of tone throughout the entire thing. She went from like trying to be happy and performative to being nervous and scared and talking to Tay and then talking to Luthen and then talking to her daughter, and some great moments like that sequence with her daughter, heartbreaking when a teenager hurts you as only a teenager. Yes, the teenager hurts you like only a teenager can do to your parent. But not only that is how she responded, the quick, the tonal, deep, and then like the passive snapback of, you're just going to stand behind me and I'm going to lead you forward there kind of thing. But it's a heartbreaking moment. Mom's going through a lot in these 3 episodes, like a lot of different emotions running wild on her at this point while trying to do a wedding for her daughter, deal with Perrin, deal with Luthen, deal with Tay, deal with the rebellion and everything going on. And she covered it all, and she was the most interesting character for me to watch the entire time. So shout out to Mon Mothma and Genevieve O'Reilly, and I can't wait to see more. I think more is coming. So I'm hoping Emmy for her. I really am. I mean, obviously she has to deliver the rest of the season. I only see the 3 episodes, but if it delivers the same way,
she'll definitely get a nomination for sure.
I think so. What a tale that is from someone who had 99% of their scenes deleted in Revenge of the Sith.
She was essentially just cast as a lookalike.
As a lookalike, basically to pass as the younger Mon Mothma. Her scenes are cut. Here we are, on 20 years later now, and we are taking a legacy character like this and adding so much depth and backstory to her. This is why it's been great to have Star Wars continue. Like, in some ways, you're getting new characters, yes, but we're establishing some of these older characters and giving them a hell of a lot more. And I can't wait to see even more potentially coming up from that. So good for her, and good for Star Wars in general. All right, next up, we got I Spec, which is our favorite lines of dialogue in the episodes. I had a handful. I'm going to start with one of them, and then you can go back. I have a couple to highlight. My first one is from Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen. He didn't have a lot to do in the first 3 episodes. He didn't have like any big shiny.
You're not about to take mine right now.
I might be. That's why I decided to go first, because I want to make sure you didn't take mine first. But we'll see. My favorite line was easily, "How nice for you."
How nice for you.
So
it was cold.
Good. Cold. Delivers it perfectly, assassin-like.
That man doesn't need a whole monologue, but if you give him one, he'll make magic. But just that cutting, almost pity of just like, oh, you sweet child, you'll never have to know like true hardship.
It's this strong mix of pity, condescension. It's just a mixture of emotions that delivered to someone who is obviously been coddled a little bit and it's still in need of coddling. Can't do everything at this point. Can't quite commit all the way, which has been Mappa's character from the first season. She's she's a strong character that she wants to do what's right, but she's not sure how far right is. And of course, in this context, we're talking about her killing her childhood friend, someone that Perrin thinks is her lover. And honestly, who knows? Maybe he is. We don't really know. It's kind of like this is the kind of situation where you don't really know what the situation is. There's something going on there that might be just friendship. It might be more. It could be at one point. If they discovered later on that they had an affair at some point earlier on, would everybody be shocked? I don't think so.
We did get one question answered though.
Yeah, what's that?
Cinta killed them kids.
Killed them kids.
Cinta is the angel of death.
Yes. I loved that we didn't see her until that moment. Mm-hmm. I think if you saw her earlier on talking to Vel or talking to Luthen or whatever, it would have weakened the time that all of a sudden you see Tecoma walking out after being a jackass and basically needing to be Fredoed, as it were. Walk out, you just see her turn in her her uniform, and you're like, you do the Leo. It's like, boy, Tay, you're done. Bye, Tay.
But is he?
I think so for sure. I think that's the implication. And what else could it be?
Somehow Tay survives.
I mean, we don't see a body. I get that, and that the show definitely doesn't shy away from violence. So I don't like. I mean, it's not
it shows up on Coruscant, and it says to Mon, "It's like you tried to have me off," and it's not. I honestly think that he does get off. Like he does get Fredoed.
Okay. I'll make sure that's what you think too.
I did think it was interesting. I think it was a really good play how Vel was like, I haven't spoken to her when she's talking to Mon going up the hill. She's like, I haven't spoken to her at all.
Yeah.
And then she shows up to, she can show up to assassinate a political figure, but she can't even get a text back.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it shows you how Cinta is. This is why we know. I think you and I both know where Cinta truly belongs. She's going to be in the Partisans before the end of the series, I think.
I think she's going to be dead by the end of the series.
I do too, but she's going to get to the Partisans first, I think. I love that. You said it best. She's the angel of death, and that's why you can almost rightfully assume that Tay is no longer with us. Is there a chance? Absolutely. It's not 100%. Nothing's ever 100% without the body. But everything, I feel like that almost would be cheaper unless there's some bigger storytelling that I can't foresee, which is possible because these are some wonderful writers. So, all right. What about you? Anything other lines of dialogue you want to highlight?
Cassian's line of "You're coming home to yourself." I thought that was a really beautiful line. Just him speaking to this woman who is terrified and is risking everything. And it was probably Luthen or Clara that said, don't look him in the eye. The whole like rock star movie star thing of like, don't look him directly in the eyes. Don't speak to them. But Cassian recognized it on a human level. Like, look, I was you once. I was scared to give up everything for the cause, but you're doing the right thing. And he talked her down, got her to do what she needed to do, and carried on with the mission.
Mm-hmm. So, absolutely. And I agree. That was actually, I wrote that down as my second on my list as well. It just was a heartfelt moment. It was needed to be heard. I think it's talking directly to the audience a little bit as well. It's like kind of that thing, like, you got to be uncomfortable sometimes to do the right thing. And I think we're all coming to the part where we are more and more being faced with choices that we can either do the easy thing to get along, or we can do the right thing and stand up for things. And this is what Cassian has come to. He knows, and he feels good about his decision, and he's going to help others feel good about the decision as well, even as they struggle through it, because we're all struggling through it at this point. So another one I'm going to mention as well is I'm going back to Luthen, and it was just partially the delivery, but it just made me smile. Oh, where are they all going to?
Yeah, he's fishing for information out of everyone.
Using the gossip to push for info. He's always on, always working, always pushing.
He is always working. Always be working.
No breaks for Luthen. I love his delivery. it made me smile. Like this guy.
I don't know why, but when he has that persona on, he really reminds me of Mrs. Doubtfire.
I think it's a little bit of the hair. The hair is all sort of like
it is a little bit of the hair, but it's just kind of like the oh dear.
Oh dear. So different. So different when where they all going to how nice for you. So it's a great range there, character.
I would love to know if like he watched Mrs. Doubtfire or anything like that to prepare for this.
That would be a funny. That'd be a funny thing to learn. The inspiration wise, that came from Mrs. Doubtfire. I wouldn't doubt it though. It doesn't.
He's in Mamma Mia, so
100%, absolutely,
it's definitely in his repertoire to do.
Absolutely, 100%. I will say it is kind of like the Clark Kent Superman thing of it all. Like you just put on a hair wig and you just change your personality. And all of a sudden, you're not the same person in a way, and like you're not at all the same person. That's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal way to do it. So. Any other lines of dialogue that really got you this week through, or these 3 episodes?
No, it was more the Cassian's line and Luthen's lines that really stuck out to me.
I had a couple other dialogue moments, but they weren't actually specific lines per se. I'll throw them in here since you're going to talk about other things. So, like, I did love the whole Krennic's whole speech was pretty like just well delivered. Not any specific line from it, but he just kind of like had this whole kind of performative way he was talking about things. He was definitely proud of himself and how he would get on to Dedra later on. And I'm looking at you, and I want your opinion. I don't want your bullshit, basically. That, and I will also definitely point out Dedra's speech to Edie when Cyril leaves the room. When
I got a whole bunch of notes on that scene.
We'll wait on that then. Okay, all right. Next up, put that in your holocron and snoke it. Explore more lore. Let's figure out what we got here to explore. Matt, do you want to go first on this one?
I want to know Uncle Harlow's role in the criminal underworld. Who is this guy? Is he related to any? Is he part of any of the syndicates? Is he just a 2-bit thug? What's his deal?
Is it actually Uncle Hondo?
Might be Uncle Hondo. It might be. We did, pitch this in season 1.
We did. We absolutely did. We absolutely could come to it. We did get the confirmation, obviously, that he is a criminal, like we was definitely alluded to in the first, kind of knew and implied. But this is pretty much straight out. And Dedra says she's seen his files in the ISB. You don't want to be announcing that. I get that. Yeah, I agree. It'd be fun to see whether he's what is he part of Crimson Dawn? Is he
part of the underworld, or is he like Davos Golden in that he's just a shady dude?
Dude, yeah. Absolutely. Could have been interesting if he was Davos Golden, if Uncle Harlow was Davos Golden in a way. That'd be interesting. And they would connect it all together potentially. That makes it a little smaller. So, but no, I agree.
Or if Luthen is Uncle Harlow.
Wow.
And the guy that Dedra's been chasing is part of her boyfriend's family.
That'd make an interesting ending at this point. If we had like a 5-season run, I think that might be something they could definitely explore. I don't know if we have enough time.
I don't think I could take a 5-season. Like at the start of talking about this show, like a 5-season run sounded great. I don't think I'd be able to take a 5-season run. I barely think I'll be able to take 2.
All right. Let's see. Oh, my first choice for this particular category is who the hell led that pathetic rebellion that Cassian got rolled up in? My appel. Oh my God, this crew. Who the hell is this? Who leads this crew?
These are idiots. when they were like 5 hands, I was like, oh, they're going to be playing like Sabacc or poker or something. Right. And then they said choose your second. I was like, oh, are they talking about throwing hands? Are they going to like, because they throw the blasters down. I was like, oh, are they going to fight to the death? No, they play. I'm not going to go there because it's a comedy moment that I want to bring up. Okay. Because it did make me laugh. But yeah, I thought they were like partisans. When I saw them. I was like, they look raggedy enough to be partisans, but even Saw's not this stupid.
I will say, Saw's not stupid. That's the thing.
He's pretty stupid.
No, he's not.
He's stupid in like
he would eat these guys for breakfast. He's reckless. Okay, reckless, but not stupid. These guys are stupid.
Are they not the same thing?
No.
Okay.
Recklessness and impetuousness and like impulsiveness, that could be solved. But like something like this, like just pure dumb as these guys. These guys, in fact, so much so, I will say that that whole scene actually knocked down the episode for me. And that first episode,
Really?
why they were slow, there was just too much of them. Like it was kind of humorous, and I liked the tone at first, like in terms of like I liked adding some levity to it. I do think, like I said, when I talked to some friends, I think I texted you this too. I feel like the first 3 episodes really kind of kept the vibe and the tone of Andor, but dialed up the Star Wars a little bit, and that's part of it. It had a little bit of that humor in there, but I kind of felt like, oh my god, we're here for 2 episodes. Oh my god, we need to get past this. And I understand what they're going for. They're definitely going for the rebellion.
That's the point.
I know, and I got the point, but I just didn't like. I was like, I got it. Let's move on, kind of thing. It's like I felt like
exactly. This is the thing when I say it's an uncomfortable watch. It's not an enjoyable watch. You're sitting there like, Cassian, what the fuck are you doing here? Get home. Like you need to get back, but he can't. And it's just like you're stuck here with these bumbling fucking idiots when like you need to be home right now. Like that's the point that you're sitting there like, well, fuck, it's hopeless. There's nothing we can do right now. I think that's what they were going for. And when I say it's like an uncomfortable watch, like we're not supposed to be like, oh, hopeful he's gonna get out of this. He's gonna get to the TIE Fighter. He's gonna save the day. It's just like, no, he's bound up by a bunch of bumbling idiots. We are cooked. We are screwed.
There is heat and there is go away heat. As we talk about wrestling all the time.
These guys reminded me. Go away heat.
These guys reminded me. Yeah, that's not a good thing. These guys remind me of, hey man, no. That's what these guys reminded me of. That guy. Like I was kind of like, okay, because they actually took me out a little bit because they felt like I didn't feel like they were in Star Wars. They weren't in the same universe. They were in this like they were acting in a show. I felt that way. This is probably those were the worst performances by far in the episode. I thought some of them. There were some good moments in there, but like the 2 lead guys, I was kind of like, what are we watching here? What are we doing here? Let's just get away. And I get your point. I get that. And I know it's definitely supposed to ramp up some tension. I guess it does because you want to see him get out of there. But it's not. It wasn't about me wanting to see him go home. More about me just like I just don't want to deal with these guys anymore. Let's just get off this planet and move on to the storyline.
And you can see that he's trying. He's trying to talk his way out of it. He's trying to blast his way out.
He's smart. Cassian's smart. He's telling him, like, you're going to have to collect the water.
You can be the smartest person in the room. You can be the smartest person in the room, but when every other person in the room is an idiot,
I know.
It's hopeless.
I did take me out a little bit. I mean, it's not like it killed the episodes for me, but I was kind of like, I felt myself going, all right, let's move on. Let's move on from that. But the other parts definitely made up for it. I felt less interested in Cassian's story at that point. Like I want to like use your focal character as your main guy, and Andor is more of an, despite being called Andor, it is an ensemble piece for sure. I mean, definitely the Mon Mothma stuff's right up there. The Dedra and Sura stuff is right up there. Bix and Brasso are all like a big part of the tale, but Andor's story itself is kind of like, okay, it just, I did about half of that. If that was like one episode, okay. When we went on to like the second episode, I'm kind of like, all right, here we are. Okay, sure.
But we do have 9 left.
I know. I get it. But yeah, honestly, I'm making more of it than it has to be. I'm definitely nitpicking it a little bit because I love the episode so much. Like I have some things to nitpick on. But yeah, so yeah, not a big fan of that, but that's all right. But I want to know who led this battle of my Appel. Who is my Appel? Because I actually remember somebody pointed out that Saw mentioned these guys by name during the first season as one of the groups he didn't want to work with.
Yeah. Now we know why.
Now we know why. Exactly. Do you have anything else you wanted to explore more lore of at this point, or three, or?
No. What? Why did Krennic pick Dedra specifically, since she fucked up so bad? Because they were all handpicked. He said that they were handpicked, and also, if he spoke to Palpatine directly the day before, if he met with Palpatine the day before, what's stopping Palpatine from showing up himself?
Well, I would say what's stopping him is if he doesn't want to deal with a lot of the minutia. He doesn't want to show up to Senate anymore. He doesn't want to show up to things. He's letting them do it.
Rennick said if there's any security leak,
that's what's gonna
deal with
Oh yeah,
personally.
Well, because that's what's gonna be. Until that, though, he doesn't need to show up at this. This is all bureaucracy stuff to him. You can take care of this. Do you fuck up? Okay, now I'm stepping in. Now I'm gonna take over, and now you're done.
Sounds like someone else that we know.
No, that's a good point. Though. I would like to see what Krennic thought, how he came to that decision, because it was definitely a screw up, and I'm glad they went there. I'll expound on that a little bit because I was really glad to see Partagaz. I'm not sure how much we're going to get at Partagaz throughout the series, but I love him as a kind of a snarky, not snarky, smarmy, like.
He's a shit weasel. He's Tarvington,
right? But he's actually like. He's not quite the punchable face guy. He's just the intelligent. He's really intelligent.
I want to punch his face.
Do you? Okay. I think he's actually a great character. I mean, I think he's doing horrible things, but he's like really good at his job. But he doesn't do it. But he also doesn't do it for. He's not a shit weasel because you don't see him like enjoying it or doing it for personal gain. In terms of he's not getting anything out. Like he has pride in his job. His job is to do bad things. So like I feel like he's very intelligent at it. Like for example, like I mentioned, like the first season, it's the idea of like everybody there is Empire is misogynistic, and they're not going to let Dedra rise. He doesn't care about that. He wants Dedra to rise because he knows he sees the talent there, and he's the kind of guy who's like, I don't care what they think. I know you are worth something. I'm going to try to fan those flames.
But who does that credit go to? Dedra's under him. Yeah. If she makes it look good. He's the one that's going to get the credit for it.
Well, because he's smart. He's not. It's not a shit. To me, it's not as much of a shit weasel as the shit weasel. To me, somebody who more is someone who's not strong, who's pathetic, and like is getting away with a bunch of stuff, like and is getting personal gain out of it. Like if he was like, if you saw him taking the credit and doing stuff to take the credit with somebody, like you kind of feel that's more shit weasel. I mean, you could be right. We could have him develop into shit weasel more, but right now it seems more like he's like. She is someone who's going to get the job done, and I want to get the job done, not for glory, but I want to get the job done. That that's the difference, I think, in a way. You see the difference there a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I feel in him. But anyway, long story short on that one, I love the fact that he basically comes out and says, "Yeah, you effed up. You screwed up with Axis, and this is what you have to do now. You have to take the Gorman stuff because that's what you need to do to reestablish yourself." And I love that line. It almost made that one of my favorite lines. Next time, catch them first, then make them famous. Love that. That's a great line. And I like the fact that we could have easily had Dedra just continuing to look for access. Like it could have been like the A-Team. Like she spends the whole series just chasing down access, even though she's screwing up. It's like that's always like the worst part of like Clone Wars and Rebels at some point was when like every week was Grievous coming, Grievous screwing up, getting beaten down, but yet still Grievous is moving on the next week. It's like the same thing. It kind of gets like a little bit old that way to a degree. I mean, we had a lot of fun with it, so it's not like that big of a deal. But this was an interesting take for her to do. To also, we're taking her away from this story and putting her into something else now, and it makes sense in where she was and what the show does. So I really.
It's also like everyone's favorite Italian plumber, right? Like Luigi Mangione, like might not actually be guilty, but they've made him famous. Mm-hmm. They've caught him, and now they've made him famous. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He may be completely innocent for you, Luigi, but it just speaks to like Axis is right under their nose,
right? Yeah,
and they can't even see it.
Mm-hmm. Like that. So, one last thing I want to mention about exploring more lore, and it's less about exploring more lore and more about. I love what this season with doing this 3 episode a year. This opens up a absolute treasure trove of expanded universe storytelling. We have so many opportunities now. I didn't even think about this until now of books, comic book runs, whatever.
We're not getting a 2-tube spin-off series. Let it die.
Why not? Why not?
It's not gonna happen.
It could be a limited series. No. But seriously, like we could have an Andor.
I mean, we're getting a Punisher special, right? We're finally getting the Disney Channel movie.
Yep.
On Disney Plus.
Yep.
Maybe we get a 2-tube
movie.
Yeah, 2-tube special.
right?
With John
But,
Bernthal playing two tubes.
right. But what happened in between? Like we can have big like actual storylines about what happened between the end of Rick's Road and how we got here. How did Andor get to that? We can get in between what happened after the wedding into where we get to next. There's a lot of open space to play with. And I kind of like that idea to be able to expand that way because we're getting big hints of stuff going on, big moments. But like, for example, the first 3 episodes, the underlying arc or the window dressing, I should say, was Cassian stealing this TIE Avenger. Well, like that became like such window dressing. But how do we get to that? Did we get to did we find out about the TIE Avenger somewhere? Or how'd that mission come into place? Like, there's a lot of stuff you could do planning things out. And as far as getting there, it opened up. I would love to see that be like a big initiative they decided to do. Let's follow up this with like a Andor toned graphic novel, Marvel, like not adult, I don't know, adult comic, but like that kind of like Marvel Knights like level Star Wars run with Andor.
We've got the books, right? We've just had Mask of Fear as the first one,
right?
The 3, so maybe it gets covered in the other 2.
It could be, and that could be part of it. Absolutely, I hope some of it does. Obviously, Cassian won't most likely, but at least we'll get them on Mappa side of things and the Saw side of things for sure. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on then. I guess that's it for more lore. Anything else you wanted to break down?
Nope.
Are you good? Okay. All right. Let's see. Seeing a lot of action. Ooh. Got a couple of bits of action here. There's a lot of talking as in Andor. There always is. To some people's chagrin, there's too much talking, according to some people. But there definitely was some fun action bits. In fact, we opened up with a fun action bit.
Do you think Tony Gilroy watched Independence Day before he wrote this scene? Because all we missed was the only thing that was missing was Cassian saying, "I have got to get me one of these."
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. It did come into my mind as well.
The going backwards. It's like a mix of the scenes in Independence Day where they leave the base because they put it in reverse and then they go backwards.
Right.
And then the scene in Independence Day when they're in the mothership and they get stuck and they have to like fly their way out of there, even to the point where you have the little closing gap afterwards and he has to fly through it.
Yeah.
But like the shooting, everything, but that was Independence Day. Don't try to tell me it. Much like Top Gun Maverick was the trench run.
100%. Absolutely. I'm here for it.
That scene was independent. It was the end of Independence Day.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'll tell you an incredible thing. We were just missing the speech. If we'd have had like Stellan Skarsgård giving like a full-on presidential, giving a presidential speech before it about how this is our Independence Day.
Right.
Remember? God, imagine Stellan Skarsgård giving that speech.
Oh, so good. Oh God, that would be good.
There's got to be some AI tool out there that can just like generate that. I just need to hear that. I don't condone the use of AI, but for that,
every once in a while you think about something like, I would like to hear that. I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I might let it slide.
I don't condone it either, but you do every once in a while go, oh, that'd be interesting to hear. It's tempting sometimes. So I would actually
quietly into the sunless sky.
I actually think that was one of the reasons why it felt a little Star Wars to me. It feels like they kind of like took some of those criticisms potentially and said, you know what? Well, we're going to open up with a very, very, even though it is Independence Day, a very Star Warsian thing. Action, TIE fighters, stormtroopers, blasters, humor aspect of like trying to, hell, I can almost see Harrison Ford slapping the TIE Avenger in the Star Trek. He
says shit.
He says shit, which is great. I love that. It just felt kind of like this is Star Wars in action and the humor, adventure, swagger action that we didn't get a lot of during the first season. So you open up right away with that. They go, here, you wanted this, here's what you got. We're still gonna go do our stuff and we're gonna get to that stuff, but we'll give you something right off the top of the bat.
The Beast in the Jungle was another thing. Like we got that thing for like 10 seconds.
Yep.
And I feel like that was just Tony being like, there you go, you got an alien, now shut the fuck up and watch.
You got your monsters, here you go.
Yeah. There's your monster of the week. Now shut the fuck up.
We did get a few extra aliens this time through the episodes. Not still lacking compared to like other Star Wars properties, that's for sure. Especially those dumb rebels. I feel like they needed some kind of human, like some kind of rebellion.
Needed like a Wookiee.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Give us something. But
A couple of Jawas.
You and your Jawas, man. You're obsessed.
Hey, man. The Jawas would have fit right at home with those knuckleheads.
That's true. Those knuckleheads, yes, 100%. Chuckleheads. The action bit I like to throw out there also. I love the ending fight. On Rao with the ends with the grain when he shoots the grain and the grain falls in the troopers and everything else.
Yeah.
Loved all those almost like video game like action sequences where you got to see the targets going, you have the laser blasting. I loved how they showed they had the AT-AT run. We kind of saw it in the trailer, but he was started flying down on that transport and shooting it with the missile. I felt like it was like you're following the ship down with it going through. Wonderfully shot. There's a lot of
Diego said shots. That's the most fun he's ever had filming anything.
Is it?
It was being on the gimbal with the. He said it was like playing Star Wars like a kid again, but you have the best toy ever made.
I can imagine that. I'd love to get a chance to do. That's a ride right there. That's a ride you gotta sell in there. At least open up somewhere. Great piece of action though. Great fun there. I don't know. What about you? Anything else? Action pieces that you want to bring up? Anything?
No, really, there wasn't much in terms of action other than the two
set pieces there.
The two big pieces there, and that's fine because when the action hits, it hits.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we obviously have the moment, which we'll talk about later.
Yep, we'll get into that for sure. I think you all know what we're talking about, but let's hold on that. It's going to be a bigger discussion. Let's go on to all right. Let's move on to the next segment then, which is Laugh It Up, Fuzzball. Our comic moments of the episodes, and I'm glad to say that there were when we were doing our Andor watch through leading up to this. It kind of was sometimes a little bit hard to find those humorous moments. That was one of the criticisms of the series, that it was so serious and there wasn't any moments of levity. There was definitely some moments of levity.
Is it levity or is it just like? I mean, I'll go first with my one. Cyril is just so pathetic that he's just laying on the bed because his mom was a bit harsh to him. It's like, bro, you are so pathetic.
That is my new favorite meme. That's already gone out there.
That is going to get memed to shit. So many people are going to be using that meme. I've already got it saved on my phone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Me also. Just love the fact that he's just laying there so pathetic. He's got he's basically in a relationship with his mom, a different version of his mom. He's got mom on one side, Dedra on the other, and they're basically fighting over who's going to be in control of him. And he's like, his facial expressions, every expression, every reaction, every line of dialogue, every bit. And yet at the same time, what's funny about it is how he acts at his job, which is the opposite. When he tries to act like the alpha male. I found this for 4 seconds. I found criminals in over 4 sectors, and there's a future for those who dare.
Like, what have you ever dared to do?
Oh, Cyril, you are something.
I did find it really interesting in that scene how Edie was the only bit of color. Everything in that apartment was black and white. Everything they were wearing was black and white. Even the food looked like dark gray slop.
Yeah.
And then you have Edie who's dressed all in color.
Right.
Like she's supposed to represent some kind of whimsy and, innocence. But you're like, no, you are so insufferable. And she's great. I love Edie. But I hate her at the same time.
Oh yeah, she's an awful person. You don't want her as your mom, really, but at the same time,
hell no.
But she's so exciting. She's so fun to watch. So her and Dedra together, and Dedra, almost all my humor moments outside of the Cassian and or Independence Day things, almost all of them were Cyril and Dedra sequences and Edie.
I don't want to know what happens in that household.
Cyril, I'm gonna say it. Cyril's definitely a bottom.
He's a cuck for sure. He's 100% a cuck.
Dedra practicing to smile because she never does it.
I felt so uneasy.
It's
ugh.
But it made me laugh so hard. I was like, this is someone This poor person. This I don't know if I say poor person. Like it's just this is so pathetic. But so like I can't look away at a car crash. Like oh my god, these people.
And they put it off twice already. So Dedra was like, "We can't put it off again.
Can't do it again, right?
We have to." And it's just like, oh my god, they seem like the worst family.
Yeah. Oh, it's so awful, but so fun at the same time. So good. So. All right, let's move on to let's talk. Okay, I'd like to talk about the rest of the episode. Then we'll get into our Forest Visions. Let's tackle the big thing out of the gate that has a lot of Star Wars fans talking, and that is the attempted rape, sexual assault of Bix on Mina Rao by the Imperial. Basically the Imperial Ice Agent. Let's be honest, as it is.
Imperial Ice Agent, Imperial Nazi, Imperial.
So why don't
you go far back as you can in history?
Why don't you give me your? I know you have very strong opinions on it. I do too. But I'm kind of interested to have you go ahead.
Disney fucked up big time. There should have been a trigger warning at the start of that episode. And I've seen a lot of people. Someone even when I posted what I said that there should have been a trigger warning. Someone had the absolute nerve to say to me, it's not Disney or Lucasfilm's responsibilities to gauge your sensitivities. Yeah, it fucking is. When it's a topic, something as serious as that, you never know who might be watching. You never know who could be, I don't triggered is obviously the right word to it, but like the one positive that I'll start with the positive about this scene. I like that Bix didn't become a victim.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she didn't become the damsel in distress that one of the men needed to save.
Right. Which I thought was going to happen at one point.
I thought that like Cassian was going to come down and save the day. I'm glad that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Do I think that we could have done without it? No, because unfortunately, this isn't a kid's show. These are very harsh realities of war that have gone back centuries. I'm trying to figure out how I can put this. I mean, fuck it. I'm just going to go into it. To try and to be so moronic as to say Vader and the Empire would never let this slide. Fuck you victim blaming piece of shit. Like Vader, the guy who, let's not forget, killed children. You really think that Vader wouldn't let this slide? Do you think Hitler do you think the Nazis didn't, assault the women that they captured in the concentration camps because they were scared that Hitler was going to do something about it if they found out? No, Hitler wouldn't have given a shit. These are evil fucking people. And it's just, it goes back to like the Vikings were the exact same. Go back to like the era of Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan. This has been happening for so long. And for you to try and just, it fucking pisses me off because it always comes from the same fucking steroided up bald piece of shit. Like, do you think that it's not going on in these ICE camps right now with a president who has been found guilty of sexual assault? You think he's going to give a shit that stuff's been going on? And you try to justify it by putting some canon bullshit on top of it because you fucking love the character of Darth Vader so much. This is a man who choked his own wife because she disagreed with him, because he thought that she had been turned against him. So he choked her essentially to near death. You think he's going to care about that? And you're going to try and, I don't want to say justify it, but like completely negate the experience of the women and the men, because this happens to men too. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, it just happens to it. You know, I'm not trying to downgrade or anyone's experience with this, but to just be so moronic and so fucking childish. Like, learn your fucking history, man.
I will touch base on the first part. You said the I'm not going to say the guy's name either, but I laughed during that segment. Maybe I shouldn't. It's not funny, I guess. But at the same time, I just laugh at everything he says because I just think I find it like outlandishly like this is what you're like. First of all, he's a fictional.
This is the hill you want to fucking die on.
He's a fictional character that you don't know. You're not friends with the guy. You don't know, like you didn't really write the guy, no matter how many fan films you put out about him. Like again, he's someone who slaughtered children. He is someone who assaulted his wife. Like I don't like think he. First of all, let's just. I'm gonna give you the ball here. I'm just gonna put it on the shelf here. Let's say he wouldn't allow it. Let's say if he had seen it, he would have sliced the Imperial off because he decided that's the hill he wants to die. Okay, sure. I'll even put that aside. That's not Vader doing it. That's Joe Blow, Imperial schmuck, Nazi guy who's doing it. So, like, your argument is already gone. This wouldn't happen because the Empire wouldn't stand for it. Well, you know what? A lot of stuff happens on the lower levels of things that you don't see. And if you don't want to see it, that's on you. That's on you. So that's your argument gone right there. We could have another. I could have another argument like over whether Vader would agree or whatever. But I think that's even like laughable. Even like that's not even the situation here. So I'm not going to talk about that. But let me go into the other things you said.
If this scene didn't make you feel sick to your fucking stomach, there is something seriously fucking wrong with you.
100%. Trigger warning. I grew up in an era where we never had trigger warnings. Like that wasn't a thing. And I'm not saying, and I'm saying as someone who like did that, I don't need the trigger warning as much, but that's on me. I know we have developed and we have evolved to the point where people like who are involved in media and getting all into it and everything else, they prefer to have trigger warnings on these situations, and that's perfectly fine by me. If that's what they need, then that's what they need. So I'm not someone who's against trigger warnings. So I never think about trigger warnings until after the fact. If I see a trigger warning, I think about it. If I don't see a trigger warning, somebody brings it up later, like, oh yeah, I guess I could have had one. So this one absolutely could have won, especially when you bring up the point that Obi-Wan had a trigger warning for killing children, or they slaughtered or they showed Order 66 flashbacks, and it was right after a school shooting, so it was very kind of like timely. So yeah, Disney should have had I think Disney could have done with a trigger warning,
and I think they'll probably go back and put one on it. I would imagine
that's the case. I mean, it's the case now that it's out there because trigger warning is the only thing that's the only negative, and this is I don't want to say this is a negative. The only like argument the other way, and it's a bad argument, is that you don't want to give away something. Like all of a sudden you throw there's attempted rape in this episode, and like it's like, oh well, okay, now I'm looking.
You don't have to put that though. You can just put like this, scenes from this episode contain, essay contain sexual stuff. I mean,
now you're looking for it though. Now you don't see it. Not you're looking for it in a gratuitous way. You're looking for like, oh well, that's going to happen later on in the episode. I'm waiting for it.
But if someone is triggered 100%. By that thing, as soon as it starts to come up, they can skip it if they don't want to watch it. 100%. I mean, I'm just going to come out and say it. Like 2015, I was out with friends and I had a drink spiked with MDMA, and I ended up in a room with someone that I didn't know that, but I didn't necessarily need that trigger warning.
Right.
Someone might.
Which is why I'm saying it's not.
I know. I'm in no way saying that you're arguing against it.
Right. I'm just saying that is the argument that I can kind of see being tossed out there. Yeah, I think it's more important that people's well-being is taken care of.
Yeah, of course. And like someone like me, I don't particularly need it because I've dealt with that my way. Like it's something that I've moved on from in my life, but some people may have a more horrific experience than I had, and they may need that. So I think that was a big fuck up on Disney's part there.
Okay. So I really should have. I will also say I find what's interesting about this to me and the fascination you've had of the discourse, because I've heard from a lot of different people, and there are some people out there. There's the outliers, like the guy we're not going to talk about, but there's other discourse where it's like people are saying either grow up and why, and this needs to be said, this needs to be talked about, this needs to be dealt with, this is the reality of the situation, blah 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 blah. There's that side of things. There's the other side of things that are basically hashtag not in my Star Wars. And I don't mean that in a flippant way, but the truth is, honestly, I see their point of view as well, because this Andor has been a very groundbreaking series for Star Wars for a reason. It is unlike anything in Star Wars we've ever seen. People are going to push back. I've seen people push back against that and be like, well, they've had it before in Star Wars. They had Leia in Return of the Jedi. They have Ahsoka, Ahsoka in Clone Wars was sold off as a sex slave kind of thing. I am not disputing that at all. I will say that this is the one that has taken it the most seriously, tonally speaking, that you can't gloss over that. You can almost gloss over the Leia stuff because of the swaggering adventurous. It's kind of quick and you should know it. You should know it, but doesn't kind of hit you in your face. But the way they do it in Andor is very much in your face, and you can't gloss over it. They will not allow you to gloss over it. Is that important? Sure, I think it is when I talk about this kind of thing. I understand why some people don't want it in their Star Wars, though. I do understand that. Some people like Star Wars and Escape. They want the more mythological kid. The argument has always been Star Wars is for kids, right? So if Star Wars is for kids, this isn't really for kids per se.
This ain't no kid show.
And that's the thing too, is like, is that a bad thing? I don't think it is. I think there's a room for a Star Wars adult show. I think there's a room for it. In fact, I love the fact we got freaking Skeleton Crew followed up by this. I think this is the show is the definite thing we can do. I do understand why some people don't want this adult type Star Wars in their Star Wars. I get it. I understand that. And I say to them, as much as I don't mean to be flippant about it, this isn't the show for you. Maybe you shouldn't watch it if that's the case. And I'm fine with that. And your kids probably shouldn't watch it at a young age. This is not.
Hell no. Like I'm not watching this with kids. Hell no. But my point to that is, if you are not willing to engage with topics like this within Star Wars, don't ever ask for R-rated Star Wars ever again.
100%. Absolutely. That's the hypocrisy I've seen about that is where I start going like, well, you got what you're asked for. This is a serious adult, dark themed show, and it's showing you all the darkness that Star Wars has to offer potentially. And I think it's I think it's a worthy show. It's a worthy discussion to have. It's worthy to have it in there. I can understand why some people are like, no, I can't watch it. It's not my Star Wars. Okay, I get that. If you're Star
I don't
Wars,
think there's many people that I would trust to handle a topic like this within Star Wars other than Tony Gilroy. And Adrian even did, when she did her interview talking about this scene, she said she felt it. She felt like she owed it to women to portray this scene the way she did. And when she said that, I was like, there's nothing more I can say.
I get that. I get that. I don't think they have an answer for this at all. I think some people are going to be stuck in their ways either way. I think that I'm hoping it doesn't overshadow the rest of the show. I'm hoping that that's the case. I don't think it will. I don't think it will either. I think you got your spot here. I will say also, the thing that surprised me the most, I was honestly just surprised that Filoni and Disney allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
That, like, they said the word. Not only did they show the action, they actually said the word. And saying the word, as asinine as that is, as it might be, like showing you everything leading up to that is one thing. When they actually called it what it was, that kind of amped it up to the point where it's like, oh, I almost could see them get away with just like violence against a woman a little bit. That's been in some stuff before, but like they actually used the word in Star Wars. And that was like kind of like, oh. But the whole thing about it, I'm kind of like, okay, so Tony Gilroy said it. He said he got no pushback from Disney or from Filoni or anything else. And that does surprise me a little bit. And I think it's actually, but the thing that surprised me most or makes me happiest about that is the fact that you can no longer tell me that Disney is not going to let filmmakers do what they want to do, what they need to do. They're not going to push back to be the Disney brand all the time. And Filoni, despite Filoni probably, honestly, end of the day, probably doesn't like a lot of Andor.
We're going to talk about Filoni later on, I think there's more to him than we're letting on.
I think so too. But my mindset is Filoni would look at Andor and say, "This is not really Star Wars, but like he's allowing Tony Gilroy to tell his Star Wars story. There's definitely pieces of Star Wars in there, of Lucas's Star Wars, and it's actually more physical. In some ways, it is the closest thing to Star Wars we've ever gotten, actually, as far as George Lucas's intention to showcase fascism and the rise and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But you're never going to see Dave Filoni do anything close to something like this as Star Wars, because he is definitely much more of the kid-friendly type of Star Wars storyteller, and that's okay too, because that's what it started at, and that's what it can be, and that's what it is for you. More power to you. I love that. I actually still overall, well, I think Andor might be the best made TV show and best made Star Wars content we've gotten since the original trilogy. Honestly, I may think that, but I still prefer other Star Wars stories to it overall. I prefer the more fun, adventurous lightsaber pew pew stuff. But I love the fact that we can get both. That's my favorite part. At the end of the day, I suffer. We can get both. So, I think I said everything I wanted to say about that. I do find it amusing, not amusing, but that there's just so many, like, there's so strong viewpoints on either side. I'm kind of like a guy that's really in the middle saying, yeah, you got a point, but bring it back a little bit. You got a point, bring it back just a little bit. But also, if you don't want to bring it back, make your decision, and okay, that's how you feel. You can either enjoy it and embrace it, step away from it, and it's not for you. That's okay.
My overall opinion is speak to these topics, because they need to be spoken for.
100%.
Just be mindful of the people who are watching, because you never know.
I agree. And you know what? It does bring up another point.
If we saw like a suicide happen in Star Wars, that would be very triggering to me. I would find that really, really hard to watch.
Absolutely.
So my thing is these topics need to be talked about.
Great.
Just be mindful of who's watching.
What this all leads to is actually a secondary conversation that I know we're running long today, guys. By the way, I'm sorry about that. It's a big topic.
We gotta talk about this stuff. So if you guys are here for a quick analysis of Andor's episode 1 to 3, Alex Damon's done like a 13-minute long episode on Star Wars Explained. Go watch that.
I wanted to bring up something else that this discourse has reminded me of, and I want to also shout out, as I often do, the great Ken Knapsack for Force Center. I haven't seen his.
Has their episode come out yet?
Has not. I think it's coming out today. It might be coming out right now. We might be actually missing it. I don't know.
I haven't watched it yet.
I've not either, but I did see Ken talk about something on social media.
Oh yeah, was it the Variety article?
Wired, I believe.
Wired, okay.
And it leads to a greater conversation, something that he has said to me privately, and I believe he said it on the show a lot of times as well. And other people have said it too. I really, really have honed in. It does make me angry. I hate the fact that people are using Andor as a weapon. They're basically saying, look, this is what Star Wars can be, not all this other quote unquote shit, basically. Like that Andor should be Andor. This is what Star Wars should be. This is serious Star Wars. It's premier storytelling. Your action figure pew pew stuff isn't worth it. It's not Star Wars. Bullshit. Get the F out of here with that shit, I gotta say. Because look, I'm someone who loves Andor, looks forward to it, and I think this is some of the best Star Wars we've gotten. I also love Obi-Wan. I also love Ahsoka. I love Clone Wars. I love Skeleton Crew. I love all those things. I even enjoyed the Acolyte. Come at me if you will. My least favorite other things, but I still enjoyed it. I think there is stuff that you can have in every avenue of Star Wars you've gotten that is for true Star Wars fans. If you like something from Star Wars, guess what? You're a Star Wars fan. If something tickles your fancy, you're a Star Wars fan. If you want to see more pew pew lightsaber force than a lighter tone, you're a Star Wars fan. And it's good Star Wars. So don't come at me and start using Andor as a weapon, the critical analysis or whatever. This makes it better than it's not. It's different. I love the fact that we can get both. Give me more Andor. Give me more premier storytelling. Give me more Skeleton Crew and fun Amblin life adventure. Give me more Ahsoka interconnected storytelling. Give me the big blue guy coming in space. Give me all of it. Give me all of it, because there's stuff to be had without. And if you're an Andor only person, I feel sorry for you. I do. I can't blame you if that's the only one you like. Hey, that's also your own opinion. But I think you're missing out. And don't dare tell me that the stuff I like is shit compared because Andor is so good. Don't use one show to put down another. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. Put up what you love and tell me why you love it and shout it to the world. Don't tell me why it's better than the other stuff. I don't hear it.
So. I'm also tired of these so-called journalists woefully missing the point of everything that they're consuming. And we know why they do it, because it generates the clicks. It generates every piece of stuff. Every piece of art is political. Everything in life is political. Your landlord is political. Your neighbor's beliefs are political. The people you live next to, their beliefs are everything is political. But yet they want to pick, oh, this is the political Star Wars show. It's been political since A New Hope, guys. It's been political since the very beginning. It's Star Wars. War is political. Taxation of trade routes in The Phantom Menace. Look what we're going through now with the tariffs. George is sitting back like, I fucking told you so. And these are people that laughed at him. They're like, trade routes, taxation. What the fuck are you talking about, crazy old man? Now everyone's like, oh, this is political Star Wars. It's like, it's been political since the beginning, you fucking morons.
Great. I can only laugh because some people are just they don't have media literacy.
This is what journalism is now.
I'm telling you, watch a show that I know you didn't watch. I know you didn't watch it. Watch The Bad Batch. Tell me it's not political. Tell me it's not dark storytelling. It's animated, so it's for kids only, right? I get it. But
they won't watch it.
No, I know, absolutely. Because there's,
because it doesn't generate the clicks.
Absolutely. So, all right. Let's finish out our Andor discussion. We have 2 things left. Going to be parsecs out of 11. We will do each episode, I think, in this case.
Are we going to talk about the arcs as well? Because I've kind of split the story up into 3 arcs with some more stuff that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Let's do it.
How the hell does Mon Mothma have money issues with a house like that?
That's a good point. Inherited land, but not money, maybe? I don't know. That's a good point. It's more about moving the money, I think. Isn't it more about moving the money? Because she has the money to move. It's the idea is that she can't move the money around because they're watching the money. Like, I think that's part of it. She can't use it and take her money for rebellion without making launder in some way, shape, or form.
I'm going to bring up one thing that I know is going to make you very happy.
Oh.
That actually really pissed me off.
Wait for it. I might be. If it is something I'm thinking it might be.
You know damn well what it is.
I don't know. Okay.
Do you ever hate when someone that you cannot stand makes a really good fucking point? Fucking Perrin in this episode had me like, this motherfucker's got a point. I hate it. But he's woefully missing the point.
Okay.
Because his whole thing is enjoy life, have fun, party all the time. PLD, this is me. You know how much I love to party.
I do. Matty.
Matty loves to party all the time. It's the fact that he sees people like Sly more and thinks, oh, these people are fun. I can party with these people. Everything's fun with these people. Why have all the rest of you got to be sad mopes? But when he said you got to find the joy amidst all these clouds and all the gray, I was like, God fucking damn.
Damn it, Perrin.
He's got a good fucking point. Tony, I fucking hate you for that.
I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, just so you know. So go ahead. Yeah, I agree, though. It's interesting.
Fuck you, Tony. What else have I got here?
So the Chandrilla stuff, I'll just touch base on the Chandrilla stuff from my angle. I love the shots I mentioned before. The sets, the shots of the following month, beautiful
the
stuff.
new Niamos remix too.
The new Niamos, yeah. They obviously Star Wars has their own version of Pitbull, basically because the only lyric is they have.
Niamos, yeah. Here's
Shout
the thing.
out Nick Harley. I said that on Twitter. I can't. I stole that from Nick Harley.
Who was that?
Nick Harley, I think, was on Twitter.
Okay, yeah. I came to kind of a realization that thinking of what's to come, this wedding might have been the best idea because it's going to pull Lita away from her mum. And when it comes time for her mum to denounce the Emperor and start the rebellion, it's going to take that target away from her family because she's going to have nothing to do with them. So it's kind of like better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And while it is an arranged marriage and that is very ick, you kind of got to think that at least now Lita's safe.
Perhaps.
She doesn't want anything to do with her mom.
Yeah, absolutely. But wouldn't that be an interesting story to see where Lita is post Return of the Jedi?
Well, we know where she ends up because in Bloodline.
Oh, is she in Bloodline? I forget.
She's in Bloodline, yeah.
Oh, I forget that. Okay. Lita, was the relationship repaired at all, or are they still?
No, they're still.
Okay. I didn't realize. I read Bloodline so long ago. I forgot she was in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What else did I have? A few things I heard about Perrin being right since it killed that family, Angel of Death. The one shot where Luthen arrives. No. So I guess we can just get on to the sad part. The really sad part.
Oh, yeah. We put a pin in this earlier. I forgot. I thought you mentioned it, but we didn't. Go ahead. Bring it on.
Brasso went down like a fucking hero.
R.I.P. Brasso.
God, I teared up hard.
I was so sad. I mean, it makes sense. We're going to lose characters.
How does it make sense?
It makes sense we're going to lose these characters because they're like Rogue One is leading to Rogue One, leading to Rebellion. These characters aren't around for Rebellion. It makes sense that we're going to lose these people. This is a tragedy. This is a story. This isn't. If you didn't see this as a tragedy, then you've been watching the wrong show. Tragedy. We're going to lose our characters. We're going to lose all these characters by the end, except for the ones that are in Rogue One.
There's one that I think is going to survive that isn't in Rogue One. And we'll get to that when we get to Force Vision.
I think so too.
But again, go back to your history. This is the story of Anne Frank. Hiding in the attic, and then the neighbors gave them up. Only in this instance, they didn't give them up.
No. I saw somebody write that. I thought
they did. Now, here's the thing. I thought they did because Brasso sold it so well.
Right.
The Brasso was like, "You betrayed Saga. You sold us out." And then, like, he really went for him.
Right.
But then when he's on the ground, he gives him that look.
The guy got that.
And the guy's like, "Huh? What?" And that's when I knew it was all an act.
He had that smirk on his face. Not a smirk, but like he had that little kind of like
a realization.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, and it was like Brasso went out so the other people wouldn't get investigated.
I saw a journalist who glossed over that. Like they basically thought that they did turn him in. I'm like, did you not see the look? Like, were you looking at your phone at that point? Maybe I don't know what's going on, but you totally misread the situation. That was Brasso being a true hero. You put us up. You helped us out. I'm not going to let you go down for this. I will do everything like my power to say it is not on you. You turned me in. God damn it. Exactly my point. Agreed though. I was so sad when he got shot. When he drove away, I was like, no. And the worst part about it is they let us think that he got saved. Cassian does come in and shoot him and shoots down the troopers. You're like, all right, good.
Did one of Cassian's shots hit the speeder?
I don't think so. I think they had the stormtrooper who could shoot. Obviously, the one stormtrooper who could aim right out there.
I hope
it did blast.
I hope it's that because it did have that one shot where it zoomed in on that one stormtrooper.
Right.
But then you hear the Cassian's TIE Avenger coming in, and it kind of like immediately cuts away. So it's like, and here's one thing that I love. I actually love that they killed him off screen. I mean, I don't love that he died off screen, but it speaks to that. If we look at the grand scale of the rebellion and Luke Skywalker making that magical shot that blows up the Death Star, Brasso's death, because we're so invested in him, it's a deep wound to us.
Yeah.
But you look at it in the grand scheme of the rebellion and what's to come,
Forgotten.
it really is a minuscule event.
Forgotten man. That's what it's going to be. He's going to be a forgotten man.
He's going to be forgotten. Well, we're not going to forget him. Cassian's not going to forget him.
No, absolutely not. But as far as the grand scheme of the rebellion goes,
there's going to be no statue with Brasso's name on it.
Right.
And set up in Coruscant. Mm-hmm. You know, there's going to be no mention of his name in the history books.
Nope.
But he died a hero.
100%.
And I will say, my last point on this, they better fucking go back for B2.
I'm going to put a pin in that.
All he wants to do is hang out with Cassian.
I'm going to put a pin in that.
Okay. Okay.
You
really do think he's going to become K2, don't
you? No, I don't. No, I don't think that. Although that still made me chuckle every time I think about that. I will say one thing we didn't talk about, and the one thing that pretty much did kind of redeem the chuckleheads there was the very fact that the reveal that we were on Yavin 4 the whole time.
Oh, shit.
Did you not get that?
No.
Yes. That was the thing that actually did kind of almost make it all worth it. He flies away. You see the Massassi temples in the background, and where we're going to return to in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And hell, maybe Cassian is the one who brings him back. I don't know. That could be the case. We don't know exactly at this point. But Cassian was on Yavin 4 that whole time. And I felt like the fact they didn't, because they would do a good job of putting all the films in there. They put all like Mina Rao, the Mithrine Divide. Didn't put it up there for Yavin 4. And then all of a sudden he flew away. You see, you're like, oh, that's why.
Tony did say we are going to see Yavin 4 in a different light.
Mm-hmm. And there you go.
And now we have with these fucking knuckleheads on the ground.
The only bad thing about that is that we might not see in the last of Chuckleheads. Although I don't know if they can survive a year on their own. So let alone I don't think they survive another week or two. But yeah, that's what I thought. That was a very nice way to do it, and nice like kind of just reveal. And we're gonna go back there, and yeah, I think that's a good decision. Also gonna throw out there, of course, on Chandrilla, we forgot to mention we got to see the Rebels character, Erskine Samaj.
Oh yeah, Erskine. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I swear, like a lot of people say, Tony Gilroy's not a Star Wars fan, but he knows enough to let his
ear.
That's what I'm saying. He lets his people fill in the gaps when need be, and that's what good storytellers do. Having Erskine there makes a lot of sense.
I feel it was like they put that character in there as just a normal, like a valet.
Yeah,
and then and Tony was just like, "You want to call him what?" Okay, fine.
Call him Erskine because he's a character. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, because we know that Gilroy knows about the Gorman Massacre and Rebels and how that connects because he mentioned that in an interview. So obviously Erskine was a part of that, bringing Mon Mothma to the Ghost crew. So obviously, if Dave Filoni is, see that guy right there, that's Erskine. So you should probably make him that guy on Chandrilla. Absolutely makes sense. That's what
I will say another little comedy moment was when you have the Ministers of Enlightenment, which is basically Empire propaganda machine. They're talking about how they were going to... It's funny that they were talking about spiders and how they would spin a story the way the spider spins a web. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
But then you have Krennic essentially going, yep, that's enough.
Yeah, we don't need any more of that.
Very good. We don't need any more of that.
Absolutely.
Essentially just being like, shut the fuck up. Like, we get it. You're propagandized. You're spinning this story about the Gorman. And I really like learning more about his family. Like, his dad is a Chandrillan. He was born on Naboo, but his mother's Gore.
It's a lot of backstory.
There's gonna be. I feel like there's gonna be something to that.
I don't
feel like we're gonna come back to that.
I think he's just definitely gonna be more personally attached or personally invested in everything going on for sure. I wonder if we're going to visit Naboo at some point. I wonder. Just a thought process. Like you mentioned that. We're doing gore. He's on Chandrilla. Mentioning Naboo, maybe. Wouldn't be surprised. But it is a senator of Naboo. Palpatine's a former senator of Naboo, after all. So, and you know what? Having Bail Mon Mothma visiting Padme's place of rest.
Did you read the thing? Apparently, they've recast Bail.
That is a spoiler, Matty. That is a spoiler.
Is it?
Some people say it. Okay, I'll throw it out there. So, I will say that it is been. Some people got really upset because that rumor did hit the web and everything else. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's a spoiler! You shouldn't have said that." So you know what? I'm going to give you another 5 seconds here. Spoiler alert! I'm going to put up a spoiler banner. If you don't want to hear me, skip forward 10 seconds. And I'm going. Here we go. It is true. He was recast by Benjamin Bratt.
Okay.
So non-spoiler.
Hey,
now,
Jimmy wasn't available.
I don't know what the situation was, but in that case, I think
if tell me another show.
If you're going to recast, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good recast, I think, honestly. So, I will say that I don't like it either. I hate it, but it is what it is. I don't see it as a spoiler. Like I don't. A lot of people get upset, but like I'd rather actually know.
Is it even true though? Is it true?
Yes, it is true.
Okay, I believe it when I see it.
It is definitely true. I will say though, I actually don't think it's a spoiler. I'm sorry. I do apologize if that was insensitive for spoiler people. I know some people are sensitive about it. I don't see why that's a spoiler because to me, I'd rather be prepared than like be like, wait, who's this? What's going? Like and like now I'm like, okay, now I know what to look for.
Yeah, so. I it's just because I haven't seen it from anyone reputable.
Okay.
That I'm still kind of like.
I'll say I'll say I know 100%.
Okay.
So that's all I'll say. But yeah, it is what it is though. The recast is there. It is what it is.
Yeah, let's move on.
And what was it? Anything else about the arc? Oh, Yavin Forge, like that aspect of it. Anything else we need to talk about? I think we got through pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into our Force Vision then.
This is my Force Vision for when we rewatch Rogue One and this whole story comes to an end. I think Bix survives.
Okay.
And the tragedy is that Cassian never gets to go home. Because of something Diego said in an interview. It was on the Star Wars live stage with him and Alan Tudyk. He said his home is Bix.
Right.
And I feel like he never gets to go home to her. You look at the Ferrex arc, he's there and then he has to leave. This arc, he gets there and then they have to leave. Maybe they try to settle down on Yavin 4, but then he has to leave to go to Scarif.
Yes.
And that's why he's such a tragic figure, is like he never gets to go home.
As that is a sad one.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a post credits of Bix learning about Cassian's death
from B2 email,
from B2 or whoever,
right?
But I feel like she's going to be the one that survives, and the tragedy is that he has to give up his sunrise for for someone else to see.
He becomes Luthen.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be tragic. It's an interesting take. I mean, you're the only person so far I've ever seen predict that she's going to live through it. And that would be a tragic way to do it. And, they don't always do what you expect them to do. So.
I just don't think they will put her through everything she's been put through just to kill her off. I think she's going to be that light of hope that like all this terrible shit can happen to you and you can get through it.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that. I think that the line that she has about if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to give it all, then I want to win. I think she's going to do something she's going to do something big. She's going to be the key to some big sacrifice that's going to end up winning the day for them at some point. I think that honestly. But I like where you're going with that. It would be definitely a fascinating way to do it for sure.
It's almost like Shakespearean tragedy, which
like
pulls right into what Star Wars is.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay, I have two pieces of Force Vision I'm going to talk about. I
Just
put
hit
a
me with
pin
the
in both of
B2
them.
one first.
Okay, B2 one, I don't think we see him again. I think we're done with them.
Man,
I do. I think that's it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Leave him, and he is safe. We can always revisit him in the future.
Okay.
He's not. He is happy with Talia. I think Talia is a good owner. I think Talia's a nice person. I think he'll live happily ever after as well as he
just
can.
wants to see Cassian. At
The only bad
at
thing,
least let him see Cassian one more time.
he's got one more tragic thing to happen. That's going to happen to him. Someone's going to find Brasso.
Oh God.
Poor B2. Poor B2. Someone's going to find Brasso.
Poor little droid.
Poor little droid. Okay. That was my short one. Here's my big Force Vision. And it's one that you're really not going to like. And you're not going to like it. And I'm sorry.
All right, go on. Perrin's going to become some fucking hero of the rebellion bullshit.
Not hero of the rebellion. That's way too far.
Fuck.
Way too far. But this show has never been anything about black and white. These are shades of gray. We are learning about all different sides of things, right? Perrin's character has always been one so far of indulgence, being a rich snob, like partying all the time with the right or wrong people. But in this case, in the book we saw, and in this season, I think we see that there was something. He does have some kind of affection for Mon. Some kind of strong affection for Mon. Sure, is he a dick about it? Sure, is he whatever? Is he going to be rebellion? Is he going to join the rebellion? No, effing way. I think he does finally learn something, though. I think he learns and grows. There's going to be a note to those people because he's going to represent the people who are ignoring it. He is the people who are ignoring all the stuff going on, the fashion going around. He's going to finally learn something's going to happen. Maybe he's at the Gorman Massacre and sees it firsthand.
He gets fucking shot in the Gorman Massacre.
I think he might, but I think he's the one that helps Mon get away somehow. He sees the Empire coming for Mon, and he sacrifices himself and gets Mon away. I don't even mean he might not even sacrifice himself, but he does something to be like, Mon, go, I'll take care of them. Get out of here. I'll take care of them.
Nope.
And talks to people or something like that. Gets Lita out of there. He might not die. I don't think he's heroic enough to sacrifice. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I think he's heroic enough to sacrifice himself. I think he'll take Lita and family and go somewhere else. And he knows Mon has, but he doesn't. He know Mon can't go with him anymore. He knows Mon's going to be an outlaw. He's not going to turn her in. I think he's going to be like, go. I'll stall them. You go. Get out of here, kind of thing.
You think he's going to be the Hodor? He's going to hold the door?
He's going to hold the door. Yes, Hodor. It's not let they bring blasters out, he may move away. But he's going to be the kind of one who's just going to start talking and like, he'll do the she went that way kind of thing. And,
she went that way?
Yes, exactly. I think he's going to have a heroic moment. It'll still be selfish and in character, though, because it's to be about, I think he does have some kind of twisted, weird affection or whatever. Not, I can say love, maybe, but some kind of feeling for Mon.
He thinks she's having an affair.
He does, but that's part of the political game. Does he seem that upset about her having an affair? She's your boyfriend. That almost seems like there's like a more open relationship there that we know about. That was a marriage of convenience, a marriage of arranged marriage. They don't love each other, but they both have kind of lived together.
They don't love each other, so what good does he have to save her?
They have lived together for such a long time that they have some kind of affection for each other. That is still his wife. And so someone he's lived with for the last however 20 years. She doesn't have fun, but she's still his. He's still the person he married. He's still the mother of his daughter, who he does have affection for.
Then how quick do you think it will be before Slimore is right at his door?
Maybe right away. Could be right away. Hey, like I said, I don't think he's going to become a heroic rebellion hero, but I think he's going to have a moment where he gets her out of there.
He's going to get shot in the back like he deserves, like the coward, because he's going to be running away. He
doesn't learn anything, does he? And this Antonio Gilroy wants to teach people Even if you're ignoring things, you can even at the last moment, you can still choose to do the right thing at some point.
Not him.
Makes sense to me.
It could be anyone but him.
Makes sense to me.
Just let me have it. PLD.
You might hate it.
Let me have this.
You might hate it, but you know I'm talking sense. You know I'm talking sense.
That's it. I know you're making a point. I know you're making a good point. It doesn't make sense to me that this rat bastard would suddenly just do the right thing.
For everybody else?
I hate the guy. I hate the guy.
Or for one person that he might have some affection for.
The only person he has affection for is himself.
And Lita. And the mother of his daughter. He doesn't love her. He's not going to do sacrifice for it. But he doesn't want to see her dead. He doesn't want to see her languishing in prison. If you read Mask of Fear, right?
Yeah.
And he was in that hospital the entire time with her.
Stop making the good point about this guy.
Just saying.
Nope. I refuse to believe it.
All right.
I just can't.
This
is like saying that Vader is going to show up in the Acolyte. It physically cannot happen. It's impossible.
World between worlds, baby. Vader could have showed up in the Acolyte. Absolutely could have. Anyway.
Next thing you know, the World Between Worlds is going to have Perrin show up in the fucking...
As a leader of the rebellion.
Mon Mothma. No, he's going to show up in the Mango movie.
Oh, there you go. There's the what if story. The Mon Mothma dies and Perrin is so distraught he becomes the leader of the rebellion.
Darth Perrin.
Or the other way around. There you go. All right. Anyway, let's get these out of the way. Parsecs out of 11. We always rank things on a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects. I ranked the individual episodes because I felt like I wanted to do that. I don't know how you did it. Did you rank the individual episodes?
Whole arc.
Just did the arc as one thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. What's your arc rating?
I'm gonna give it a 10 because I know it's only gonna get worse
or better.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know what you mean. I know
the show is gonna get better.
Yeah.
But the mental anguish is gonna get worse.
Right. Get it. Absolutely. Okay. I did it each the episodes specifically for this arc because I think the arc overall was wonderful, but I didn't like some of the other stuff. I went with a 9 out of 11 for the first one, an 8 out of 11 for the second one, a 10.5 out of 11 for the third one. Ended up exactly where I needed to end up.
Those chuckleheads really did knock it down for you, huh?
Those chuckleheads knocked it the F down.
You would have thought the usual people would have wanted the whimsy in the comedy.
I know. That's the funny thing is here I am almost being hypocritical. I'm like, give me a little whimsy, you know, thing. And I got a little whimsy. I was like, that's a little much. I like the Independence Day whimsy. That I liked. And I like the chuckleheads for the first 2.5-3 minutes. And then I was kind of like, okay. Yeah,
so when Dewey and Freedy show up.
Love that. Love Dewey and Freedy. Give me more Dewey and Freedy. Give me a Dewey and Freedy spinoff. I'm good with that.
Now that we agree on.
Absolutely. I can't even say what those lines of dialogue that they say. You always say them, and I always get the squishy.
Ken Napps looks like their biggest fan, and even he can't say it word for word.
Squigglies and squigglies. I don't know either. Anyway, all right.
What's your score for the last episode?
No, 10.5 out of 11.
Okay.
10.5 out of 11. So I really liked the last episode. I thought everything came together the way it should. It showed the darkness of Star Wars. Like I said, we've already talked about that aspect of it. I'm all here for the darkness of it. Again, not at the push of anything else. Give me Andor, followed up by Seals and Crew, or vice versa as we got it. I'm all good. All right, let's move on now to our rest of our news. I know obviously a long episode here, guys, folks, so stick with us. I want to get Matty's talk about Celebration and rant on Reed Pop and why it is the worst organization in the world. The floor, my friend, is yours. Celebration 2025.
Talk about doing the bare fucking minimum. The panel lottery system is a joke. The fact that so you go to a celebration, right? One of the main things you would expect to be there is an artist alley, right? Where you can have independent artists come and show up their art. This one, there was about 5 people in a tiny little block in the middle of the room. There was nothing to do other than go to the panels. If you couldn't get into the panels, the only thing you could do was walk around and shop for things that you can buy on Amazon. All of these exclusives of Black Series figures and all of this stuff were also available on Amazon.
Right.
They sold out, but they were also available on Amazon. It was a lot of sponsorships, like the ANA, the airline. I think they're a Japanese airline. What's the big watch brand that starts with an S? Swarovski, I think.
Okay.
What the hell is their Swarovski booth doing at a Star Wars convention? Why is there a Dickies shorts booth at a Star Wars convention? It's a lot of corporate merchandise collaborations, but there was next to no independent sellers there. There was no, at least Anaheim and London, you had people show up with booths with like super rare toys and action figures like the Lobot with the laptop that me and Joseph Scrimshaw found.
Right.
This time there was nothing. Absolutely nothing to do. If I'd have like gone with young kids, there's nothing for them to do there. There's no like area that you can take the kids to play, and like there's like these workshop classes of like learn to wield a lightsaber or learn to build a droid that you then have to pay for if you want to take it home. But dude, this isn't a convention anymore. Right. This is a marketing event. If you are not a member of the media or an influencer of some description, there's nothing for you there. And here's the thing. I was queued up with a bunch of friends of mine for the food hall, right?
Right.
It took them 2 hours to get food. I left the line, went back to the hotel, went into the convenience store in the hotel, bought a full lunch for myself, walked back into the convention center, and the guys were still in line waiting for food. Dude, it's bad. It's so bad. Like, and let's get into the lottery, the lottery system for the panels. There were people that hit the jackpot. Celebration stage.
Right.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. I had to bribe someone to get into the Ahsoka panel.
Can't tell me what you did. How'd you get in? How'd you bribe him?
I'd slipped the person 2,000 yen.
That's how it is. Okay.
Which is essentially $10.
Okay.
And I said, and I'll just come out and tell the whole story because
go ahead. Yeah.
It's not exactly illegal.
Right. Right.
It was a convention panel. Like, I'm not exactly sneaking into a government building.
Right.
I walked up to this person and I said, "Hey, there's people leaving the panel. Is there any chance I can come in?" And she was like, she was Japanese. She was like very broken English, but she understood what I was asking. She was like, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. I was like, okay, how about this? I will say, thank you very much. No problem. I will walk away to make it look like you said no, so you don't get in any trouble. And the next time your back's turned, I'm going to slip past you. All you have to do is not stop me. And she was like, okay. Yeah. All right, fine. I put my hand in my pocket and I pulled out a sticker, and underneath it, I folded up the 2,000 yen.
Right.
And I handed it to her just to make it look like I was saying, okay, I tried. No worries. Have a sticker for a podcast that's not even mine, just to be like, no hard feelings. Cool. I walked away for a couple minutes, saw a friend of mine at the Roosevelt's booth, had a little 2-minute conversation, noticed that back was turned, snuck right through.
Nice.
If I have a ticket, I should be able to get into one of those panels. At least 100%. One.
There should be a guaranteed panel for like.
Do you know how much I would have lost my shit to have been in the room when Maul Shadow Legends? Sorry, Maul Shadow. I keep calling him Maul Shadow Legends because I keep thinking of Raid Shadow Legends. Maul Shadow Lord got announced, and Sam Witwer was there. brother, I would have gone mental for that.
Mhm.
If they wanted a reaction on camera, like
Good one.
pan to me, because I would have lost it, but I didn't get to see anything.
Right.
But other people got all 3 days on the celebration stage, all the panels on the celebration stage. And here's my thing: everyone who has a ticket, think about if someone from Los Angeles goes to the next one, they can only go the Friday, or they can only go the Saturday because they need to get childcare or they need to have work, and they spend that money to go for the ticket, and they don't even get into a panel.
Right.
And there's nothing else to do. It is so fucking poorly managed. And like, let me talk about the Visions panel for one thing. And we're going to talk a bit more about Visions. The announcement. They played some of it on the live stage.
Okay.
They didn't. All the creators that were there for the studios, Japanese.
Right. Absolutely.
Rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
It was so. They didn't even have an interpreter. So how it looked was the person would ask the question in Japanese. The creators would respond, and then there was a delay for the translation to show up on the screen, so everyone was reading it. So what you think is everyone being like quiet and not really responding is because we were waiting for the translation to show up on the screen and then read it, and then the next question to be asked.
Huh.
So it was a really dead. And with Japanese culture, there is a lot of like, be quiet, silent applause, let the people speak. This was different. We had no idea what was being said.
Right.
If they'd have had an interpreter on the stage to repeat back to us in English what was being said in Japanese,
Right.
it would have gone so much smoother. It's just little things like this, little basic things like this that make me feel like, oh, Reed Popper doing the bare fucking minimum. I felt so bad for Scotty Jarrett. I love Scotty Jarrett. After this week, he's one of my absolute favorite people on the planet. Absolute rock star. His panel on midichlorians was incredible. Like, there was stuff that I learned, like the opera scene in Revenge of the Sith. If you look at it from backwards, you have it looks like an egg with sperm going into it, which is like the giving of life.
Right.
I never looked at it that way. I had a massive light bulb moment switch on, which, by the way, Scotty Jarrett now has his book on midichlorians available now on Amazon. Go check that out.
Oh, nice.
They scheduled that and other fan panels at the same time as these massive panels that people were going to want to go to, like the animation panel and the Ahsoka panel.
Right.
It's just such a cluster. And here's the best part. I didn't have a pass for this Sunday. I walked right on in.
Did you?
No one checked me.
Huh.
No one checked my pass. No one checked nothing. I didn't have a pass for the Sunday. And I just walked right on in.
Wow. I've heard that about Sunday sometimes.
It was so bad, dude. This isn't a celebration of Star Wars anymore.
Right.
It's really not. And me and Ken Napsel were having this conversation. The era of the fan convention has hit its peak and is dying.
Oh yeah, it's been new. It's more news now than anything else, and there's a place for that. I like that news, but I understand why people miss the old.
But that's the thing. If you go to that solely for the news, you better hope that you get into one of those panels.
Right.
There were people there that I was hanging out with, I won't name, that were solely there for networking purposes, and that's fine. You want to go, you want to hang out with people from Lucasfilm, you want to network for your shows and stuff like that. Cool. Like, if you want to like use it as an opportunity to further your career, awesome. But you better hope you get those opportunities, because otherwise you are just going to be doing what most of us did and just walking around in circles all day.
Right.
And this is why I'm probably not going to go to LA. I'll be there that weekend. I'll be in LA that weekend, but unless some things radically change, I'm not going to the actual convention itself. Absolutely not. I'm not spending all that money. And especially because it's going to be in America, and with the current administration, the tariffs and everything that are going to be put on everything, not a chance.
It's fair.
but let's talk about the actual
All right, I will say
the community side of it.
okay. Go ahead.
Did you or did you want to?
No, I was gonna say like I'm still looking forward to going, and I'm gonna try my ass to get in celebrations. I've only been to one, so I want to try to get more into it. But I understand
Absolutely. I hope you do go. I really hope, because I know you've been wanting it to be back in America for a long time.
Yeah.
And I just hope they get all that shit sorted out before you can go, because the way it's currently set up is it's shit, dude. It's not a good time. It's really not, especially if you want to take kids. Like,
right. Which I'm not doing, so I'm okay with that.
Like,
I'm not okay with it, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not okay with it, but luckily it won't be an issue for me.
The best parts of it for me were the community stuff around it. Like seeing so many people in 501st Legion stuff that I've never met, that form all these friendships. I get to see people that I don't get to see very often, like once or twice a year.
Mhm.
Like getting to sing karaoke with Alden and Scotty J-Ro and Goose from Try to the Force and the Damage, which, by the way, I'm a pretty good singer. Alex and Molly Damon, holy shit.
No, they got pipes, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, I was shocked.
Well, that's what
like they did the song from they did a song together. They did the song from A Star Is Born.
Oh, okay. Shallow, I think probably.
Yeah, and I was just like, where the fuck did that come from?
Did you get a recording of it?
Yeah, it was on my Instagram stories.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, I'll check it out.
Like watching WrestleMania with my friends Nick and Desi, and then walking into the convention after that. We only got to watch the first night, but it was just stuff like that, and like seeing friends that I don't get to see a lot, and the little moments, like me and my friend Ryan finding this, because the elevator going up in the hotel, the main elevator, you couldn't get in or out of that thing.
Right.
But we found a little service elevator on the side that no one was using.
Nice.
So we just started using that. There was no hotel bar. So we had to go into there was 2 convenience stores in the hotel. So it was literally everyone that was staying in that hotel that wanted to party was going in and out of those convenience stores all night buying booze, and everyone just hanging out in the lobby.
Right. That's funny.
And like hanging out outside on the curbs. Which
that is funny.
We went to a British pub as well, which I felt at home.
Did it work? Was it accurate?
It actually was pretty good, and like the fish and chips was really good.
Fair.
But like, it was moments like that. Like they put on the Phantom Menace for everyone.
Oh,
and
nice.
Like one of the videos on my Instagram stories was like we were all sitting at the back, like all of our group, and we just lost it when Jar Jar came on screen. Just like the whole pub just went mental when Jar Jar came on screen.
Nice. Very nice.
There were some cool little moments on the live stage, like finding out Ahmed Best helped choreograph the Yoda and Dooku fight.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool because he showed them a bunch of anime.
Right.
And they were like struggling for ideas between the fight between Yoda and Dooku. So Ahmed Best pulled him into his trailer and said, hey, check out this anime, this anime, this anime.
Right.
And then he didn't get to see it until the premiere. And he was like, that's what I showed you.
Nice.
So like learning that Ahmed Best has really like had a massive hand in Star Wars, that was really cool to see. But yeah, it's a cool social event for me. It's good to see people that I don't get to see a lot, and that is ultimately why I go.
Right.
But if you are someone that is there for the news or to network or even just to, go as a fan, it's not what it used to be. It's like they don't even stream the panels to the floor anymore. If you're not at the live stage, or if you're not in the panel and you're not at the live stage, good luck finding anything. And even on the live stage, they cut out before, like I got to see the Ahsoka teaser. people who were standing at the live stage didn't.
Yeah, that's always the
Why
worst part
not?
about it. Yeah. I know they don't want to like. I know what the answer is. They for whatever reason they want to keep it con exclusive, and they can't control phones on the
No,
floor
it's because of sponsors. It's 100% because of sponsors.
Why would you say that?
Because you have on the Star Wars live stage, you have various different like sponsor segments and sponsor giveaways. Those things have to be played.
Mm.
So it takes up time that would otherwise be played with the teaser footage.
Yeah, but you're talking like I thought they played all the con exclusive teasers we got, which is Mando and Grogu, Maul Shadow Lord, and Ahsoka. They could have found. I'm sure they could have squeezed in 5 minutes worth of stuff over the course of the entire celebration. So, to me, it's more
with
about
all the interviews and everything.
I
don't know.
I think so.
They
could have. They wanted. It's about keeping it out of people's phones. That's why. Because otherwise, why would they take your phone in the big panel? Did they take your phone in the big panels or whatever? I think they did. Did they?
No.
Or
But the moderator from the Ahsoka panel pissed me off.
Like, did I don't know who it was.
Because it was they started talking about Rey.
Okay.
And Dave was getting really, really emotional because obviously he's worked with Rey since Rebels, and
my mind went to Daisy Ridley, right?
No, Ray
They
Stevenson.
did? I don't remember that part of the panel. Okay.
they were talking about Ray Stevenson, and the guy was just like, "Oh, you worked with Ray Stevenson, who is now passed away. How did that feel?"
Oh, yeah, that's a
transition. Then Dave's giving his answer, and it's a really impassioned answer that I was like, we don't get to see Dave this emotional. Right. He's normally like very down the line. I'm here to do my job. And then the guy just cuts him up and he's just like, "Oh, so Hayden, how does it feel to be in season 2? And we're like, Dave's sitting there trying to pour his fucking heart and soul out.
Yeah.
And you have to read off the teleprompter to get your question into Hayden. Like, fucking let the man like process this.
Right.
And it just really pissed me off, dude. It really fucking annoyed me.
Right. Yeah,
because it just showed how like soulless this thing has become. It's a marketing event, right?
Oh, it is. It is.
And I don't take any joy in saying these things. I'm not happy that I'm not being like, haha, the big corporate event is shit now. No, this isn't what this. People need to remember. This event was set up by fans. This whole thing started with the fans.
You're right.
And now it's been taken out of their hands, and it's just a corporate marketing event. The only thing I can really hope is that because the next one is the 50th, we celebrate George.
Oh, I think that's why we're getting. That's why it's in LA, because it's so close to the museum and stuff.
Hoping that gets finished on time.
Yeah, true.
Because it's been delayed a couple of times, so it's just a shame of
well, the good news about LA also is that we know a bunch of people out there too, so the community will be even bigger.
The community will be bigger, but at the same time, there will be a lot more of the bad faith actors there as well. But I'm not concerned with them. Like I said, I'm there to see friends and have a good time and enjoy it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that have to change with that thing.
All right, well let's move on to the actual news that did drop. The marketing event that it was. It did drop some news. To get to have your takes on some of the things, we'll go through those kind of quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Start out with first the Mando and Grogu panel. We did have Kathleen Kennedy. I was impressed that we did get the Sean Levy, Ryan Gosling stuff. We were talking about beforehand, like, well, there's no Lucasfilm panel. There's just the Mando and Grogu panel. I think it was a smart play. I think it was a smart idea. You just have the Mando Grogu panel, and you have a bonus.
They had this planned.
Absolutely. It's the bonus instead of like, here's my Lucasfilm panel. We don't have a lot to show you, so here's the bloodshed. They give you a Mando Grogu panel, and then go, oh, but we have this stuff also. We're going to open everything with this, and we'll tell you the little stuff that you want to know here and there. Let's get that out of the way. But during that conversation, it was interesting to note that Kathleen Kennedy continuously did confirm some films that are still in development. Still mentioned Obey Chinoy, unlike that.
Good.
Unlike the Jack's excited, my dog's excited about it. Unlike that, as I called the carefully constructed press conference disguised as casual conversation she had with the reporter when she didn't drop her name. She mentions Obey Chinoy. She mentions Taika Waititi. She mentions Mangold, mentions Kinberg, and even mentions Filoni. So those films are all still in development, and I'm glad to hear it. And we can, so everybody can say anything they want to say. They're still in development. That's what that means, development. So next up, though, we'll talk about this is what I want to talk to you about. Starfighter is announced. Sean Levy confirmed. Ryan Gosling confirmed. There's no more. These are reports. These are scoops.
I love Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Yes. The way that, and I love Petty Filoni. I love when Dave gets paid, because the way that Sean Levy came out and said, a lot of things are reported, most of it wrong. Most of you have reported things, most of it wrong. But here is the one thing that you did get right. And when he said that, I was like, I'm in.
This one's 100% true, right?
And it was Ryan coming out, and like just hearing the tone in Sean's voice, I was like, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
No.
He's made Disney $1 billion. He doesn't give a fuck about the scoopers. He doesn't give a fuck about the critics. I'm just like, rumble, young man, rumble. Go forth and do your thing, brother.
Let's be honest. That's why he's been for the while. This whole thing came from him in the first place. Lucasfilm Disney wasn't saying anything. He's like, yeah, I'm making a Star Wars movie. Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, we're doing this. And now he actually gets the idea of he's actually doing it. He's officially doing it now. And
like,
next.
Even Dave found his nutsack, because he did it twice. He made a joke about the action figures. How would people say it's Dave just gets the bad action figures?
Right,
it's just them playing. And he was just like, yeah, he was talking about, oh yeah, I pulled some of the good action figures back from Jon Favreau for this one, and I was just like,
and John kind of played back a little bit too. He's like, yes, I don't get to use lightsabers in my show. Like,
yeah, but it was just the fact that like Dave hears everything that's being said, and he's just like, just wait.
There's a great interview that Dave had with Ash Crossan later on while they're just like sitting down with him. And she brought up the teaser footage that was played, which I did see.
We were standing outside. We were like watching the interview happen.
Oh, okay.
I got to high five Jon Favreau on the way out.
Nice. And she brought up the footage that was shown. They showed what everyone assumes, and I think rightfully so, is Rada the Hutt is the gladiator Rada in the WWF ring or WWE ring or whatever. And I loved Dave being Dave, because she brings up, we see our first glimpse of Rada. He's like, oh, is that what you saw? Oh, that's what that is, huh? Oh, interesting. I'm sure that maybe. So you're assuming that's who that is? Oh, okay.
Did you see the interview with Pedro where they asked if it's Jeremy Allen White? and Pedro was just like, I've not heard if it's Jeremy Allen White, but when Jeremy Allen White makes his way to Star Wars, I was like, you motherfucker, you just confirmed it without confirming it.
That's what he does, Vance. They do.
Pedro can't keep his mouth. Which, have you watched The Last of Us yet?
Yes, I have. Now, finally, yes.
He's not going to be as busy. He's not going to be as busy as we thought he was. And I've played the game, so I didn't want to say anything.
Right. I'm glad. I was able to keep the spoilers away. I didn't watch it for a couple of days. I only watched it like a couple of days later. So, but I never played the game, so I knew something was happening. I knew there was a big spoiler coming, and that was like divisive, and everybody was talking about it, but I did not know what necessarily it was. It made sense when I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
You think people are divisive now? Just wait till it gets later on.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yep. Yeah, it was just yeah, I'm looking forward to, and it's a cool name too. The ship looks cool. I've seen like the pictures of it looks kind of like an X-wing nose put onto an A-wing.
Potentially,
I asked Alex what it was, and he had no idea what it was.
Something new.
No one knew.
I'm excited. I like the idea of as I think Force Center said, Top Gun in space. Because it feels like potentially. I think it's a great idea.
What if he's playing Dash Render?
God, I hope not. We put poor
What
Ken
is it with everyone in hating Dash
we
Rendar?
would put poor Ken in his grave. If that happened. Dash is fine for what it was. Dash, so I don't want to see any more. Let's put it that way. I think though, what's great about it is that like everybody thought he was a Jedi, and now it's like, oh, maybe he's not a Jedi. He's not a Jedi. But I do think there's a Jedi component to it from the rumors going around the story wise. We don't know. This is all rumors now at this point, but that like a 15-year-old lead who is maybe force sensitive.
Like Sean Levy said.
I know. Hey, I know.
Most of what's been reported.
Well, he didn't say most. He said some, and some. So,
no, he said most.
I believe I'll go look up the panel. I remember watching.
Okay, go ahead. He said most.
He said some. I'll bring it up right after. I'll write right down.
Go ahead.
Either way.
Go ahead.
He said some. Either way, though, some of the rumors are true, though. Some of the rumors have been true. So, Jeremy Allen White as Rada, rumor, true. I mean, there's a lot of rumors.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Starfire. I'm not talking about
I know. I'm talking about in general, Lucasfilm, Star Wars scoops, and everything else. A lot of them are true also. So, I do think that there's a probably 15-year-old lead Jedi, and like Gosling maybe playing his uncle. That could be an actual uncle, or it could be a family friend like Uncle Harlow kind of thing, potentially. Who knows? But I do like the idea of having a scoundrel-led Star Wars, or maybe not even lead, because Gosling might be the lead because he's the name, but the lead character might be the 15-year-old. I see that.
He might be the top billing.
Right. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But one of the kids from Stranger Things or something.
Yeah, I mean, potentially that. It's a lot of good stuff there, potentially there. I'm excited about it coming out May. I'm glad we got a date, and we got a logo, and we got everything. So definitively, you could say that one is going to happen, I think. I mean, 99.9%.
Well, yeah, we got a release date.
Yeah, release date. We got it filming, and they're beyond pre-production. They're actually are they beyond development?
They start shooting in fall.
They start shooting in the fall. They're actually shooting some things now, like pre-production things, like Sean said on one of the celebration stage interviews afterwards. Specifically said that. So I think this is the one you can definitively say
make so much money.
So next up, let's talk about anything from Mando and Grogu that you wanted to comment on. Did you see the footage afterwards, or?
I saw the Wanna, but that was the only thing that I watched, and it was because someone who's a friend of ours came up to me and was like, "Hey, you're gonna love this." And afterwards, I was like, "Okay, no more. Show me no more."
Right. Good. Okay. I already mentioned that. Okay, let's move on then to the animation panel. To me, this was the panel of the night, of the weekend, of everything else. Is the most. We had the most news and most like interesting engagement with it. We had like 3 things that went down. Let's talk about. I'll save the best for last for you. First thing we got more unused Clone Wars footage, which is always cool to see. The Anakin and Boba Fett chase, which is kind of reminiscent of Attack of the Clones and Anakin and Zam Wessel. So similar vibes there, but more of that famous Cad Bane and Boba Fett arc that we didn't get. That some of it was, taken away and brought into Boba Fett and things like that. I'm glad we got to see. I'm always happy to see more of that. And that's a great way to do it at Celebration. You get to celebrate 20 years of animation. You get to actually see it. I like that aspect of it. Did you see any of that footage afterwards watching the panel?
Nope.
No, you didn't see it.
Didn't see shit. Didn't see a damn thing.
That I think you can still find online, I think, somewhere now, but it's fun to say.
It may be because I was also in Sky Jarrett's panel.
Oh,
they put the animation panel at the same time as Sky.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Even Auden didn't get to see it. Auden was sitting right next to me.
Oh, we might see it afterwards though, because they definitely showed that part of the panel on the live stream. That wasn't like a con exclusive one. So that's why I got to see it. So, all right. The next bit is they showed the full episode of Tales of the Underworld, the first episode with the Zaz Ventress.
I got a slight spoiler, and I'm pissed.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because it sounds fucking awesome.
It does sound awesome. I will say everything I've heard. I've heard description of the episode. Generally speaking,
I heard we found out how. That's what
I think that's. I honestly shouldn't. I know. Yeah, I'm not going to say how. I'm going to say I think it's important. I don't need to spoil.
I'm not going to say what we found out.
That we do find out. The questions are answered. The question is answered. That's important to know because that's always been a big thing since she re-debuted in Bad Batch. But from what I've heard, description-wise, I'm not going to spoil anything. I did get someone to describe the footage to me. I don't know why. I was really weak this time. I usually don't like to get spoilers like that, but I just was like, okay, yeah, let me know. And I got the explanation of what it was. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys on air here, but I will say it does sound like a genuinely like important lore heavy like episode, like in where there's a lot of stuff going on that like they're touching on. It's not inconsequential. Like sometimes some of the tales of can sometimes feel a little inconsequential and be more about just character fulfillment and exploration and building up the character, which is also very worthy storytelling. I mean, I love some of those stories as well. This appears to be a little bit of both, which I'm happy to see too. Some more connectivity built.
I threaten the pain of death if I found out anymore.
Well, I'll shut up then.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about this for me, though, is that I'm watching this panel and I'm like texting back and forth. I'm texting my son some updates and stuff because he wasn't watching. It was late at night and everything else. It was like, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning for me for this one. And I'm watching it and I'm like, okay. And I was on social media following the panel, blah, 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 blah. And I go, bah, 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 bah. And now they're showing us a full episode of Tales of the Underworld. And I sat there and went, well, fuck. I was like, that's it.
This is what I'm saying, dude.
We're not gonna get a full announcement. I didn't think we were gonna get a full announcement of the animated series. So I was pissed. Because I kind of like that's the whole thing about Celebration I was looking forward to. I was like, if we're gonna get one thing at Celebration, we're gonna get maybe a teaser for Mando and Grogu, which we didn't get publicly. But we're gonna get an announcement of what they're working on next in animation. It's gonna be the not just Visions, not just Tales of the Underworld, which is already announced. We're gonna get an announcement what the next full-on thing is. And so when they got to that showing the episode, I'm like, well, that's the end of the panel. That's how they end these panels, generally speaking. Oh, that's it. I started like, right? I'm like, I started to justify it in my head. I'm like talking like, maybe they don't have it. Oh, they want to save it for something. And then all of a sudden they went back, and also the next thing I know, yeah, they came back and they wanted to show us something new.
Before we get into what it is, we came out of the panel. We're walking me and Auden are walking towards the animation stage, to the galaxy stage where the panel is being held. I hear a voice, and I'm like, nah, that ain't him. I knew he was there that week, but I was just like, nah, it can't be. Then I heard him again, and my jaw hit the ground. I was like, there's no fucking way. And Auden then turned to me and was like, you never heard the rumor? I was like, what rumor? He's like, Crimson Dawn animated show. I was like, why the fuck did no one tell me this? Because lo and behold, Sam Witwer comes out, and I've seen the picture, and it looks fucking awesome. Just the one beam of red light.
Yep.
Down on Sam Witwer, and then they play the footage, and then he just like his master before him,
pulls Ian McDermott,
play it again.
It's again. Yes,
bro, we're getting a fucking more show.
Yeah. I will throw the nitpick negativity out.
I'm so angry I wasn't in that panel.
I'm sure you weren't. The only negative about it I've seen is that some people want to get away from that era, which is understandable. I get that to a degree. I do also want to see a post Jedi and Luke Ben thing. I do want to see that still. That's my favorite bet. And I understand that's what their place is. However, that being aside,
fight me.
It's Sam Witwer being Darth Maul for a full series. It's dangerous. It's dangerous having Maul as your POV character. Because it's the temptation is there. It's dangerous because it's always dangerous having the evil character be your POV character. Because the temptation is to lessen the evil, to make it more relatable for people, yada, yada, yada. That's a temptation that always kind of tends to happen. The thing that happened to some people don't like Boba Fett because also Boba Fett became a good guy in a way. I understand. I think they won't do that. I think Dave Filoni is too smart for that. He actually said that in one of his panels later on, said basically something like
the apprentice is going to be our emotional.
You can't change you can't change the characters that have been inscribed in order to do it. But when I first heard that, I'm kind of like, that is there is some danger to it. But that being said, Sam Witwer did also say he has got to look at the scripts and have input on the scripts, and nobody knows that character like Sam Witwer does.
He helped write the script. He helped write the story.
Oh, he had input on it. That's what he said. He said he had input on it. He got to see the scripts and have input on it. So I think that's how. I don't think he's gonna get a writing credit
He's the
necessarily.
only man to ever out-geek Dave Filoni.
True. Was weak, and I did find a leaked version that I got to see the teaser footage of.
Nope.
I know you won't. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil what it is. I'm just saying.
I'd hate to be the bad podcast host again, but I don't want to see.
I know.
Jack shit.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm actually not gonna.
I know. But I'm just talking about like even in future when that trailer drops.
Oh, you're not gonna watch the trailer at all? Okay.
No.
Okay.
This one, I'm like, I have to go in blind.
Okay.
I have to, because if I know too much, I need to enjoy this one. Just let me have Star Wars, please. Like Lucasfilm, please just let me have this one.
You're not going to. I mean, they're going to have a lot of trailers and teasers out there. You know, it's going to be the TV.
I got a mute button. I got the block hammer.
So, but I am excited about it. I do know we did hear. Obviously, it takes place a year after Clone Wars, and I'm hoping, and I don't know if this is true or not. My potential is that we get at least 3 seasons. Like it's an actual like Bad Batch kind of thing, 3-season type show. Obviously, ratings come into play. I get that, but like let's see it go through, and I hope it does take us from that to where we met up in Rebels. I hope we have the full like story of where Maul is. Because then that's one of the few things we don't have. Could we incorporate some of the Crimson Dawn stuff? We can incorporate some of the Solo stuff. Like I said, we can incorporate a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects of it, a lot of different potential for characters to join up in, to have moments in. The Honda watch is in full effect during this time frame, I think.
They got to put in Dryden. They wouldn't have spent all that money making the character design model for him and only use him one time in season 7.
I agree. Paul Bettany, come back. Paul Bettany.
I don't think we'll get Kira, but I think we'll get Dryden.
I think we get Kira. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to get Solo 2 in here a little bit. I think we're going to get Kira going, because if we're doing Maul, Kira is going to Maul. And I think we're going to find what's more interesting in a Maul story than seeing how Maul went from Crimson Dawn leader to abandoned on Malachor. I don't think they leave that out. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just feel like that's the story they're going to tell eventually. Well, although the apprentice is going to have a big deal with that as well, obviously.
Darth Talon. Don't try to tell me that's not Darth Talon. That's Darth Talon.
I know.
Anyway, let's move on, because we're going to be talking more about that as the show comes out, and we're already running like well into over 2 hours here.
True. Real quick then, a few other things. Young Jedi Adventures is getting a season 3. I was happy to hear that. I'm always glad to have more Young Jedi Adventures. I've actually watched the full season, more nubs, and it was a fun series. I guess the Nihil may make an appearance in season 3, from what I've heard, which is cool. I'm interested to see how they balance the High Republic stuff with the very kiddie aspect. Imagine that we get Young Jedi Adventures and Andor next to each other. There you go. Ooh, that's a breadth of storytelling right there. Did you see a photo of Rory McCann as Baylan Skoll?
I did.
Okay,
he looked great.
I loved that. I was like, this looks freaking good right there. That is what we needed. As much as rest in peace, Ray, and I'm sad we don't have him, but man, seeing that man out there in full on sit like gear.
Apparently, him and Rosario did a movie together. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I didn't know that.
I can't remember the name of it, but they did a movie together. So they worked. There's a relationship there. They worked together in the past.
Nice. While you're looking at that, Dave Filoni did go out and blot more about Ahsoka. We didn't really talk about the Ahsoka panel too much. We talked a little bit about it, but Hayden returning, obviously, but really making the announcement that certain Admiral Akbar is returning, and we'll be going one-on-one with Thrawn as far as space battles. Lots of space battles going on, and lots of Rebels going on. This is really, if your main beef with Ahsoka was that it was Rebels season 5, well, your beef's about to get worse, I think, because it's going to be Rebels season 6, I think, for sure. It seems like it that way in that case. Yeah. Because we got a lot of Hera and Ezra and Thrawn on one side, Ahsoka and others on the other side, all leading towards the great Dave Filoni movie that we're going to get eventually at the end of all of this. Are you excited about hearing that stuff, or do you not want to see that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to see more Akbar.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And the space battles and stuff, you think that's a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't get enough space battles in Star Wars these days.
I know, it's true.
Everything, like, look at all of this space battles in the sequel trilogy. They all happen like within the atmosphere. Give me like a proper space battle, and let's have Akbar really show his mettle here, because I think he did get shafted a bit.
He did
in The Last Jedi.
I think that's very true. It's a very true statement, and some of the wrong people have like harped about that, but it's true.
I'm curious to see if we get like a younger Holdo.
That would be interesting to say. That would be very interesting to say, potentially. It would make sense.
Like maybe the Akbar's on the back foot.
Especially since we can't really have Leia. I think we might have Leia in a Dave movie. If Dave's final movie, I think we might get Leia there. I don't think we have Leia in Ahsoka kind of thing, potentially. So maybe as a Leia like supplantation or whatever, potentially.
Maybe we see the battle of the Kyron Belt.
We could, absolutely. That'd be kind of cool, because you don't know what that is. When that is, that's true, necessarily. But much like I think my prediction for Andor, being that Krennic is going to be the one instead of Tarkin to do the Gorn Massacre, I think it's a similar kind of thing. So you got that character we can supplant them with somebody else and hold it would make a good Leia fill-in, so to speak, potentially. All right, last up from the convention, the one we didn't talk about. We'll brief over because we are definitely running really long today. Vision Season 3 got their panel, and they had the trailer, and I was excited about the trailer, but I wanted to talk more specifically about the new Vision Season 3 is coming. We knew it was coming this year. Everything about that was good. I like the fact we're getting sequels to 3 of the great ones, the being the Duel, the Ninth Jedi, and there's the other one, Village Bride, I think was the other one.
Village Bride, yeah.
Right. Getting sequels to those, which is kind of cool, getting more in that world that we've already established. But then more importantly, the one I want to talk about for you, the Ninth Jedi getting an actual limited series. That news was exciting to me. And it was surprising because we kind of heard rumors, and we had talked about rumors, and that the Duel was going to get its own full-length series kind of thing. So that's kind of what I was expecting. And then I went, oh, it's the Ninth Jedi, which actually is the one that might have been my favorite one. I don't know if you have to go back and I'll have to go back and rewatch Visions and go watch our episode.
I really enjoyed that one too.
But I really think that was my favorite one, or definitely one of my favorite ones. So if you want going to be the Duel, this is the great one to go. I think there's a lot of story left in it potentially, and I can't wait to see where that's going to go for sure. It said in the actual documentation, they said something to the effect of it's opening up the world for a new way to have long form storytelling within Visions. I wonder if the Duel is still if the Duel long form is still going to happen, but that would be like the next one after the Ninth Jedi kind of thing, potentially. Yeah. I'd be all here for that. I hope they expand a lot of them out, to be honest. This is great stuff. Stylized stuff we don't get out of the mainstream animation. I'm excited about that. And that's 2026. 2026, pretty huge for Star Wars. Pretty huge. Yeah. We got Ahsoka, Mando, and Grogu. We got this Ninth Jedi, Maul Shadow Lord, Ninth Jedi. This is a lot of good stuff happening in 2026.
So we just got to get through this little dry spell of 2025 and we're good.
And at least that has Visions. We still have Visions coming up, baby. We still have Tales of the Underworld coming up this year, too. Once Tales of the Underworld drops, so then it goes a little dry until October. Then now we get the Visions, and then 2026 is going to be headlong, I think. So they're going to make dates in 2026 except for Mando and Grogu, but everything else is going to be coming into play, let's say. All right, last little tits and bits I got Tony McNamara is now co-writing the Taika Waititi film, which makes it, to me, the most important thing Kathleen Kennedy saying that means is that A, it's still in development, and B, I think it gets done if Taika has a co-writer now. I think Taika is very busy. I think Taika's been involved with a lot of things. Him getting help to finish the script means they want to finish it and get it done. And Tony is an Academy Award nominated film writer, screenwriter for Poor Things and for Favorites. So I think this is definitely a good piece of news. What do you think about that?
Yeah. If it gets Taika to hurry the fuck up, then yeah.
Taika's on Taika time. That's Kathleen Kennedy's new saying, her favorite saying, basically.
As he should be. He's one of the top 3 working directors in Hollywood.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah, am I wrong?
I don't know if I put him in top 3, but I do think he's definitely a very unique, inventive storyteller, and I want to see his film for sure. Absolutely, in that case. And finally, last bit of news, and we're kind of glossing over a little bit of this news, obviously, but we're almost 2.5 hours in. Nick and Carlton Cuse, according to, I think Jeff Snyder had the scoop saying that they are writing a new Star Wars series. Nick and Carlton Cuse of the Cuse family The father was a big into Lost. He was a big one of the creators for Lost. So obviously Kathleen Kennedy. You never watched Lost? Really? Kathleen Kennedy loves Lost. Obviously, you got J.J. Abrams, you got Damon Lindelof, and now you got Nick Cusco or Carlton Cuse rather. But they have done a lot of different things over the course of the years. They did the Jack Ryan series as well. And Nick I'm blanking on. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong. I think Nick is the son and Carlton is the father. I don't want to flip them up though. Yes, Lost writer Carlton Cuse. That's right. So Carlton has done a lot of things in there, such as Bates Motel, Lock and Key, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan for Amazon. Nick had been working. I think this might be Nick's first writing credit potentially, or first
Jack Ryan. Is that the one with
Krasinski?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched the first season. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Nick has worked with Lindelof on Leftovers and Watchmen, so a lot of cool stuff there. No details about what it's going to be or anything else. This is a big scoop. Of course, somebody they're attaching it. Star Wars Newsnet is saying, "Is this the mysterious horror project that Andor showrunners Tony Gilroy is talking about?" That was potentially in the works.
There's only one person that should be working on that Star Wars horror, and his name is Mike Flanagan.
Oh, I'm all there with you. I wish he wasn't so busy right now. So I think that might be the case.
Unfortunately, then hold it off until he's not.
I agree. I don't.
It has to be him or Guillermo. Got to be one of those two.
I could see. I would toss James Wan a bone also potentially.
James Wan. Okay, yeah, one of those three. But out of the two that have been names have been put forward, it's got to be Flanagan or GDT.
So that's really all the news about that. It's just that they're writing a series that might never see the light of day. This is kind of one of those things that are barely in development. We're going to pitch something and see how it goes. So, but interesting to talk about, interesting to speculate about. I think that's some talent there. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. So, all right, let's get out of here. We've been here long enough. So, Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on all social media at Matty Morna, and you can find my band Morna on all social media platforms.
Find me at Paul & Duzio on Blue Sky. You can find me all over this channel. All sorts of stuff coming out. Join Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Projects. Who want some of my and PJ Campbell's MCU rewatch, our exclusive to Middle-Aged Geeks on Film content. We're also doing our regular content on the channel. If you can't join Patreon, totally understand that. We're doing the Superman series right now on the regular main channel. Also got Review, where I do talk about V. I do my Queen podcast every week as well. Class Action coming back in May for The Accountant versus The Accountant 2, which Richard Jarvie got to see last night. I have not heard back from him whether he liked it or not. I'm hoping he did.
I'm not going to be able to watch it for till literally the weekend right before.
Nice.
We do the show. I'm doing a Thunderbolt Accountant 2 double feature.
Nice. I'm hopefully seeing Accountant 2 this weekend. I'm hoping to watch Revenge of the Sith on Saturday and then Accountant 2 on Monday potentially. Yeah, that's it. We can find us, leave comments, all like and subscribe, all that jazz. You know where we are. We will see you next week where we cover be a little lesser episode. We have not much celebration to talk about, just Andor season 2 episodes 4, 5, and 6, written by Bo Willimon, who is the co-writer on James Mangold's Star Wars project. So I'm very interested to see how this goes down. But until next time, as always. PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always.